spawn battles. Let us know who you think is going to win our spawn, who you're supporting, and who you think will leave today with the axe of champions. For Noah Riley and Reason, they are looking to take some shots at their good friends over at Greasy Grove, and a lot of damage coming down there.
Ooh, it looked like
The deal almost went down there.
one shot away, and that would have been the end of the deal. Not completely, but for Tayson and Chapix, this is it once again. But Tayson is unable to pick up his weapon, and so does Chapix. Both players losing the 50-50 and going down in less than a millisecond.
3 games in a row, Xweez and Podesite have won here off spawn. This is tragic for Tayson and Chapik. This is quite literally the worst possible thing that could have happened for them, but the best thing ever for the Frenchies. Xweez and Podesite will be elated. They will be so happy, because yesterday, this is how it went for them, right? They lost literally 4 times in a row until they finally won a spawn once. This time round, though, 3 in a row. Such a good spot to be in. As we switch gears to Rave Cave, Thomas HD actually is missing a friend, and that friend is Triple.
Danish compatriot will be able to win against what is a couple different teams here. This is something we saw though to Car yesterday. There were a couple games where one of these two would go down at the Rave Cave. And it's happening here again at day 2.
Giving me deja vu. They were looking so strong in the last match before it went downhill. It looked like a bit of a bright light shining through the doorway, but now with Tripper and gone down, Thomas
Gonna have to figure out a way to bring him back into the match. It's gonna delay their rotate. It's gonna delay the amount of time they have to gather their materials, their resources. But they can make anything happen. It's Thomas's Tripper. We'll see what they can do. But for Malibuka and Mustache, the engagement ended so quickly between Chapix, Tayson, and Podesai Xweez that they don't really feel the need to have a third party. They're just going to continue doing what they've been doing. They are in first place. This isn't the time to make those big changes.
It's not really much of a big change for them. We know they like to third party that. It's more so they didn't get the opportunity to it. Went down so quickly, right? We know they like to set up, pick up weapons, and take some shots in that direction. But with just how fast the fight ended, there wasn't the opportunity there. This is interesting because here at Coney Crossroads, I expect to see Andalex and Snazy. But right now I'm seeing T-Chips and Artskill. And in the feed earlier, if you've been paying attention to the feed, I actually saw Snazy go down to Seti, I believe, or Cammy, one of the two. So clearly, again, we're seeing some of the switch-ups all around the map in terms of how things are playing out. Always one of those things that's hard to follow, but we'll do our best to keep you updated on that. Something that's not changed, though, to Carter is Tilted Towers. Jackson and Vico are here, as well as Hen and Mr. Savage.
Another thing that hasn't changed, hi, Chris Vortex, Fremont Fakey. We just saw that engagement. It's a duo that's been battling for a while, but let's see what happened at the Coney Crossroads. You mentioned it on the feed. There's Andalex. He gets
Oh, my goodness.
annihilated by Artskill with that Stinger SMG. Absolutely lasered.
I wonder how Snazy actually was so separate from, say, or from Andalex, sorry, because he went down to one of Cammy and Seti, and he was nowhere to be seen there in that replay. So clearly, regardless of what happened, clearly things aren't looking good for the Frenchies right now. They are having their fair share of issues.
Also just saw by the Greasy Grove, Janice Vidil had no O'Reilly and Reason quite close by, taking some shots, doing a bit of damage, but nothing to be too worried about yet. And for Strokey and Kylie, they're pretty relaxed here. Good amount of loot, shield keg, chug splashes, farming up their resources. You can see the focus in Kylie's eyes. Headband is on. He's in game mode.
Are you doing a drip check right now? Rating all of his accessories?
You know, it's FNCS Day 11. Gotta be feeling classy, feeling iced up. Rossetti and Cammy, they've been having some mix-ups in their early game, but it seems like they found a balance. but is it a balance that has enough loot and resources for them to have strong late games?
Now I'm even more confused because neither Cammy or City do have an elite. Maybe they did just get the finish off on Snazy. Maybe that's what it was. But either way, those two are hopefully going to be getting back to their best. We know they've had some issues in terms of the nature of their drop. A lot of the loot that they typically would have had to themselves got claimed. And so that caused them some issues. Over here at the Rave Cave, though, Thomas is having a lot of issues. Marine and Nebs giving him problems and chasing him down. This is a fight I've actually seen between these two quite a bit this season. Marine and Thomas both landing towards the Rave Cave area in solos, and so they've had a fair share of battles, and obviously in duos as well. They've had to interact, and when they have, I wouldn't say it's always gone in their favor, but right now it certainly is. Thomas is taken out.
Going against both Nebs and Marine, though, that was a very difficult fight for Thomas to end up on the upper end of, but I mean, there is more matches for this duo, and we'll have to see if they can find a way to come back out on top.
The big problem for that team, though, is that they are in pursuit of what was going to be quite an impressive comeback. They were on the rise, and so to have a bit of a hiccup like that one is awful for them in terms of momentum. Will they be able to regain their valuable third place slot that they've held on to all year so dearly? Or will it be the first of poor performances that we've not been accustomed to seeing from that team? I certainly hope it's the former and not the latter, but you never really know in the FNCS, right?
You never know. But what I do know is that Vico and Jackson here, close to Hydro and Belusi, feel like they're trying to sniff something out here. We saw Mr. Savage and Hen on the hill that normally Seti and Cammy like to be positioned on. Look for tags, look for shots. Both duos looking at the same angles, but Hydro and Belusi now playing it slow. They know Vico's there. They can see him through the brick, through the cracks. No shotgun for Hydro, though. So it's more an SMG get-in type play. Instead of get a big shot with the shotgun, as Belusi has already lost a bit of shield.
Hydro and Belusi, 2 games in a row today. They have went down to Surge. They have struggled to do enough damage, and they have struggled to make it into endgame. They currently sit in 11th, but this is a team that was quite in the top 10 to start the day. They were sat around 7th place. And so to see them in 11th is not good at all. It's been a lack of continuity. Almost forgot to speak English for a second.
Look, it's okay if you forget how to speak English. If Vico and Jackson don't forget how to take these engagements and come out on top as they continue to just kind of peek around. I don't see too much aggression, though. Both duos seem pretty relaxed here. Vico trying to see if he can chop down his opponents to create an opening. However, Jackson's so far down below that Vico shouldn't be taking any big engagements here, being so split from his duo partner.
Well, Jackson's trying to chop the whole thing, and so Vico's trying to keep them up there occupied. You can see he is breaking everything out, and Vico's doing a great job of keeping Hydro and Belusi up there. They have no clue right now that it's being chopped, and I think now they might be starting to get an idea, but will it be too late? I don't know what's happened here. Okay, Vico's dropped down into the bush, and they're still staying very, very high up. Jackson wasn't able to chop it out, and so now they will start to drop it. He finally does chop it, but it is a bit too late.
No, it's not. Belusi goes down from the drop. He got one, now giving them the advantage in the 1 versus 2. Vico and Jackson, it took a while, but it seems to have worked, and now it's caused vision from other players that are far to take shots as well. And now with Hydro being the last man standing of the duo, he's forced to try and get out of the situation.
Hydro and Belusi have been so off the mark so far today. We always talk about this with teams, right? If you have a really good day one, can you keep that momentum rolling into day 2? So far, this team has not been able to do that.
It's difficult. It's what you need to do, though, to stay on top. It's easier said than done. But for Deciptos and DKS, being in the top 10, they could maintain a bit of consistency throughout these next matches. They could bump themselves up significantly. But for now, they seem to be playing it by the books, trying to get a bit of damage.
DKS and Deciptos currently in the top 10. We saw them have some nice plays yesterday. DKS had a crazy clutch in one of the games in day one. It hasn't quite been that easy of a road for them. Queasy and Vino haven't had the easiest of roads, but certainly looking on the up. And so if they want to continue to be successful, they're going to have to keep on having the highs. So, Minnie, what's going to be the key? We're going to bring you in. What's the key to these guys staying so high in the standings?
Course off the back of a really, really good game, Queasy and Vino. We can see them having very, very similar loadouts, if not exactly the same right here for both of these players, able to carry as many heals as possible. And as we just saw them, they're in a good position. They're in the center of the zone looking for those Storm Surge attacks. Now, something a little bit interesting. Janus, he went down at these little chug splash chests before. Look how careful he's being now. He's not taking any chances. He's building. He's being extra careful. He's got his shotgun out. He's making sure that no other players are lurking. He, of course, benefits from this by getting those chug splashes as well. But this is something that we noticed because I thought it was absolutely hilarious. He's really, really, really careful because look, he doesn't want that to happen again. He wants to stay alive, he wants to do well, and he wants to stay on top.
Look, learn from your mistakes. Janice took this very seriously. I'm sure Janice is never going to look at a campfire or a tent, the same ever again. He's going to be checking those tents even in real life, making sure there's not an opponent waiting for him. As now Janice and Fadil continue to rotate through. Not been picked off early. Luckily, they still have so many points that they're up top on the leaderboard. It hasn't impacted them as heavily as it could have, as now Xweez and Podosai continue to find those shots after coming out on top 3 times in a row in the early game against Tasty and Chappics.
And no other team has done that so far, which is quite impressive. But of course, these guys are sort of put into a hybrid chamber together. It's like a pocket dimension, right? They're just separate from the rest of the lobby, just constantly battling out at each other towards the north of Loot Lake.
But for the Siptos and DKS, from the tranquility earlier on to now the aggression, the fire within these players, they continue to push forwards like a train going through these builds, trying to find a place to stop as Clown now takes the peak. Unable to connect a big shot, though. They already have 1 knock. And if the zone closes, it's not too far away. There isn't too much danger to make it back into zone for this duo as they continue to pop the chug splashes, make sure they have a good amount of shield HP, and decide now, is it worth it to try and take out Clown, or should they just rotate into zone?
Oh, the decision is made. They pick up Clown, and that damage will put them above the threshold for Surge. 40 above, that is. They do have the shields to get themselves back up to a healthy HP point once they're in the zone. So, nice work there to get that fight over and done with. For Janice and Vidil, they do have quite a ways to go, and a couple teams that will be rotating side by side them. Let's see when exactly they decide to start moving. That will be key to how successful they are in getting to the zone.
And then Mr. Savage being down below. They have been playing it pretty passive from Tilted Towers, even though the south side is taken by Vico Jackson. Haven't seen a lot of clashing between these 2 duos here in day 2. Sees the Andy in the feed taking out the Siptos as well. We saw how that engagement was going earlier on, but being 270 above for Mr. Savage and Hen, it allows them to be a lot more focused on their correct route to the zone here, as it has pulled a ways away. And now as we switch back over to Joe and Ziandi, coming from those 2 eliminations they've secured, even though they have 640 damage, even though they already have a couple of eliminations, they know DKS is alone, and they want to capitalize on it.
Joe and Ziandi are 2 very difficult players to fight. And this is exactly why they just come at you from different sides, and they make things so hard. And they'll eventually take him out. But now, they need to be careful because there's a team chasing their tail. The Armored Walls gives them a bit of time. The Hellfire and Flois almost were able to capitalize. That almost got scary for them.
It got scary for them. Almost got dangerous as they now have a bit of freedom to rotate in due to the zone being a bit of a ways away. So Flois and Hellfire are going to focus on rotating first, and then they can look back and try and hold Ziandi and Joe if they feel the need to. But Joe and Ziandi are taking two separate paths, which is a little interesting to me. Hopefully they can find a way to regroup as Ziandi now has to cross this lake. But he's using so many materials, and with only 37 HP, it's not looking good.
Yeah, he has to use so many. There were so many eyes on him, people taking shots. He needed to guarantee his safety, especially with how low his HP was. It's always worth using your materials in situations like that. You'd rather stay in the game and be low materials than save your mats and go down.
Now Pink and Anas. 47 above the zone. Not looking to be on their side. Pulling all the way north to the Coney Crossroads. They're going to look for damage, and then also in the meantime, an option for a path to zone. But Vortexers, Bevies, connecting the shots you need to connect. Still 36 below, but now with these two eliminations, if they're able to secure them, it could be what they need to stay on top. They've already knocked down Reason. Noah now, last one standing. Will they be able to kick him down and finish this off as Bevies gets cracked now? Noah, we know how mechanically confident this player is, even if they're having not the best of seasons. We know that this is a strong duo, and Noah is definitely a player that can come out on top in a 1 versus 2, but now Vortexers, Bevies, they want to force this engagement.
To be fair to Noah, he's done well to drag this fight on as long as he possibly has. But I would expect them to win this fight, and they are making things a bit dicey here, I'm not gonna lie. He's doing a great job right now, Noah is. Bevies literally down to 1 HP. 1!
Just 1. But 1 is enough to still be standing. As Vortexers now grouped up with Bevies. They have to figure out the rotate. The zone is closing.
He's dropping the bandies in the big pot.
Doing what they can to make it. Noah taking a different route. Trying to be a bit more careful here. As now the rotate comes through. It's all about blocking your line of sight from the duos that are already in zone. Looking back at them. And Janice and Vidil, the number 1 duo, only 51 above in a position that they're not yet in zone. Players taking shots. Janice getting hit. This could quickly turn into a crucial, a devastating position to be in.
We saw how they struggled last game, and so it's really on them to make sure that this is a good one. If they aren't able to start getting back into top shape, things are going to start looking real close on the standings, and that's far from what they want. Joe, all alone, with not really much to work with. Look at those materials. Look at the HP. Oh, he is going to have to do a lot, and more than a lot, if he has any real chance of having an impact.
Oh, no.
Malabuka.
Look at this.
This is going to be such a key game for them. They have a chance to really start to build a gap if Janice and Vidil can't hold on. Both of these teams neck and neck right now.
Tied on the leaderboard for first place. Both of these duos beside each other on the map. This is so dangerous. If they take an engagement, and it looks like they're going to do so, Merstash, he's found Vidil. Vidil is low on shield, but they do not want to take too much of a risk here. They have the shield keg running. They're recuperating shield. They can take shots. They can trade. They can do everything they need to do a bit of damage, as now the players continuing to make their way to zone. Janice and Vidil finding a nice route, using their opponent's builds, using the natural mobility for cover with still 82 builds. They're looking strong.
If those two teams would have fought there, that would have been monumental. It would be possibly a tournament-deciding fight with the way things have been going down. Vino and Queasy aren't too far away either, so we have all of the best teams in the lobby right now, really going at each other. And although Joe would love to be involved in that battle, in that party, without Ziandi, there isn't really much he's going to be able to do. Of course, we saw Ziandi do some crazy things yesterday alone, and Joe is a crazy player within his own right. But it's going to be real hard, especially in this zone of all these players positioned how they are.
Queasy and Vino, I'm excited to see if they're able to pull something off up above in the clouds again. But to get there, the end game has to begin. In fifth zone already, first zone pulling seems to be more to the north. As now those duos are already based up around the Daily Bugle. This is a dangerous zone, Levin. The changes in elevation around Daily Bugle, they're nothing to joke about.
It's going to be real awkward for teams that aren't able to get ahead and quickly find positions as the zone moves. You want to make sure you are proactive in that sense, and along the way, you might find some other teams with the same ideas in mind. And if that does happen, you do have to start taking shots, and Hellfire and Flotus are well aware of that one. They almost ran into a lick of trouble. Peno, what are you doing, my friend? I don't think this vehicle's going to be the way. Almost losing all of his HP, and in fact losing practically all of it down to just 15. And Queasy's having some struggles himself, but now the journey back into zone will continue.
Queasy, be careful. So low, Malibuka and Mustache, though. They have the HP, they have the shield, but down below, walking through the mud, those players up above having the opportunity to take those free shots, but a quick box from Malibuka. Flois is flowing himself back into the lobby as now Janice has lost the deal. The number one duo tied with Mustache and Malibuka. It's getting closer and closer as he used the med miss to get in and now is forced to play it out alone.
Neither of our teams tied for first want to let go. Both of them so desperate, so hungry to maintain that spot. But right now, Malibuka and Mustache look like the ones that are fighting for it, vying for it more. It felt that way at least. And we're seeing other teams want to get involved in the party. Seti and Cammy finally making it deep into one of these games. This is where we want to see this team. For Janice, though, does he have what it takes? He doesn't even have a shotgun, just a burst assault rifle. If he gets into a fight, it's going to be real, real tough.
It's so important for Janice to do a good job here. From the match where they got Eland off the start, not getting almost any points at all, to now being alone in the late game. Still 11 duos up. There's a lot of placements to be made, and another player, Pablo, as well, has to do it.
Pablo doing everything he can. Seti, Cammy, still here, still together. And they've got a lot of builds as well. This is really setting up to be a top game for them. They just have to avoid this pressure. And so the armored wall will come through for protection. Crafty and Paco, they're the ones up above. They are sitting comfortably with their armored walls. But Janet down below with 1 HP falls with 262 points. He still holds on to first at the moment. Gripey and Cheating, though, they have everything they need right now to make this a good game.
This could be their chance to bump themselves up the leaderboard. You see the feed, players going down one after the other. We have Art Skill, Seti Cammy down below, Podesai, Andy as walks, gets taken out. Gripey and Cheatin now, more of an opportunity. They're together. The chemistry is at an all-time high, and they're looking to make something happen.
But this is scary for everybody else in the lobby because Seti and Cammy, they are trying to claim low ground. He's down to just wood, and so he'll need Cammy to start reeling in some materials from somewhere. But that's never out of the realms of possibility. For T-Chips and Art Skill, though, they are popping off. T-Chips has 5 limbs all by his lonesome. And Paco as well now, putting the team on his back with 5 limbs. Krusty needing to catch up. But now that they've dropped down, do they have what it takes when they're not on height?
They've given the position to Gripey and Cheatin. Up above now with the opportunity to take those shots on the players down below, let the party and go in and strike at the perfect moment. But for the duos down below, Paco, Krusty, Seti, Cammy, the battle has to begin. Cammy is cracked. Seti has decided to play it alone. He hits the shots needed now with the backup onto Cammy. The 1 versus 1 down below. Seti could get a big elimination here. He takes the siphon, gets the shield, gets the finish on Art Skill, but is he going to be able to stay up?
So he's struggling, he's getting a bit overwhelmed here in the zone, and eventually you've got to think Cheating will connect. Will he? He will, and eventually he will fall. And so for Cheating and Gripey, this is the perfect setup for them, the perfect game. They just need the rest of the players to fall, and T-Chips eventually will fall away, and Krusty will go down to the zone. Easy as you like, not many eliminations for that team. but they struck at the right time.
Not many eliminations, but a victory royale is a victory royale. Cheating and Gripey get to put that crown on their heads, but they're looking for more than just a crown from the match. They want the crown of the whole tournament, so they have to keep that momentum forward.
No, they'll have to keep having games like this one if they want a chance to do so. But for a team that was nowhere really within contention to now come through and get a victory royale just like so, a brilliant, brilliant game by this team. Very much important, and you can see what it means to Gripey, the passion coming through. And well done to them, they take game 9.
It's a confidence booster. We'll see this duo now feeling a bit more hyped up, a bit happier, but also we must have seen a lot of changes from all the top teams. I mean, Merstash and Malibuka, they were head-to-head with Janice and Vidil in that late game, and I believe both of them went down at a similar time. Janice was playing solo, clutching up some points, but the leaderboard, it's going to be shaken up.
Look, Janice was able to outlast him even as a solo, so doing incredibly well in that game. We'll see though what that means in the standings, and who better to break that all down? We're sending it back to the analysts.
Thank you guys so much. The halfway point here in day number 2. You know, Reese, this was the story of everyone else on the outside finally striking at the top, saying, okay, you guys at the top have been running away. Stop! Come back. We want some of this action as well. I mean, there's a few names that, you know, first, second, trade back and forth. Talk to me about it.
I mean, there's usually one of these games in finals. If you're going to have 12 games, there's usually one where, like, the top 5 all just go out early. Usually what happens in those is, like, 6th down till 10th, they'll have that opportunity to catch up. It gets even closer to the top. This was, like, all top 10 was down, and it just had to be, like, 12th down to 20th, and 30-plus teams are all starting to do well then after that.
And the other issue, too, for Malibuka and Merstash, I mean, there was one point where it was looking particularly dicey there with Vidil and Giannis. I think we all assumed that they were going to fight when they were boxing right above each other, but they managed to remain relatively unscathed from each other, not from the rest of the lobby. However, it looked like it was going to be such an impactful refresh there for Malibuka too when he was able to take out Flowers, but unfortunately just too much congestion on that low ground.
Yeah, and that's 6 zones. That's first moving zone they've gone down. That's the second time today that they've done that. Now you saw actually as they went down, they were in first place, and almost instantly it just changed to second, which obviously gave Janice and then Vidil the chance to move up as well. So they were kind of stuck at the back side of the zone and I think it was Janice. No, Vidil went down first. Nice little solo clutch from Vidil. I'm just messing all their names up. They're doing fine. They did okay.
The important part here is that Giannis was the last man standing for this duo, and the fact that he was able to hold on to just a few more placements was the real difference maker in establishing or re-establishing that first place positioning in the leaderboards against Malibuka and Merstash. But again, these two duos, I expect them to keep trading back and forth nonstop because they know that this is a neck-and-neck race and it could realistically be either of their games.
Yeah, basically lasted a full zone longer. So what we got left now, 262, 259.
It's a little too scary. It's a little too close for me right now. I'm uncomfortable, and it's okay. But once again, we watch it swap around, and I kind of like that, right? Because we know how this is going to continue to unravel itself, right? These duos are going to go head-to-head and make everyone else watch, right? Everyone else is playing for third at this point, and that's okay. But as we kind of look and turn our attention, there's a few duos here that, like, I almost want to like, see move up, but haven't.
Like, look at the delta, the changes. Is that not boring? Like, come on, guys. Let's get some action.
Like 19 up.
Yeah, I want to see someone fly. I'm just seeing some zeros, some ones. Like, come on.
Well, the problem here for a lot of these other teams that are in the 11th and onward pages is that duos like Vico Jackson, Tripper, and Thomas HD, they're dying to duos that are in that 30th and onwards positioning. So that's why they're still able to maintain. But the problem is now they're losing their ability to threaten the actual top 3 here in the leaderboard.
Here we go. Second page, though. Now we're seeing some better. Now we're seeing some switch-ups, some changes. Krusty Packle, 10 placement points. They were on height like the entire game, which is huge. Usually down a little bit after doing well in the first couple games. Walks and Robab also moving up 9 places. That's massive for them. Hen and Savage now down 3, and Belusi Haijo down 8 from that. So they were down real early and lost out on a bunch of points. Remember, day number 1, they were like 6th, 7th fighting for, and they've dropped now down to 20th. So with a couple games left, they're going to have to try to clutch up something big.
Man, some of these duos, it does feel like they still haven't quite adapted to the Storm Surge, or there's just something happening for each of them. They have this mental block. It's like, this is the best of the best, but why are they suffering with Storm Surge?
All right, we're going to show them. You walk, I walk, you go further.
Well, the real reasoning, though, behind this whole Storm Surge instance, at least as far as Malibuca and Mustache are concerned, Reese, we touched on it a little bit earlier on at the top of the show, but these two have just made sure to reorganize their positioning so much so that they are just maintaining a nice little pressuring against that west side of the map. And so they're not necessarily having to worry as heavily because they're getting so many free tags.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the position we talked about earlier before game number 1. They're the setup. And these are the zones, right? First zone, second zone. So what's going to happen here is basically all of these players around this side, like Rave Cave, yada yada, are all going to rotate through this water. Remember we talked about it. There's not a bus there. There's actually a toilet. It's just for future reference. So this is what Malibuca and Mustache are doing, of course. They now have visibility over that west side of the map. They can get all of the tags from those players who end up rotating through all that water.
And not only that, but maintaining that height positioning for so long, it's not like anyone in there is really trying to threaten them. They've also been getting some pretty favorable zones as is. They're not really having to move as heavily outwards from the drop point in Loot Lake. So I think that as long as they can continue to maintain this kind of uncontested for their height, I don't really see them ever losing the capability to keep that because their Storm Surge management so far, they've been having 300 plus every single time. They are just able to take as long as they want before actually moving into the other zones.
It's a stark contrast. It's interesting. Usually you have like a perfect end game, really good mid game, and a kind of shoddy early game. It's kind of the opposite. Having a great early game, mid game's kind of questionable. They're not getting those fights that they would normally do. And end games is getting a little dicey today. But hey, now we're in the second half.
I know. Some of these duos will absolutely be coming alive here in the second half of the competition. This is it. We got 3 games left to go, and then we will know who the next FNCS champions are here in Europe. So buckle up. It's game 10.
Game 10. We have now hit the double digits when it comes to games, and for the players that signifies we are getting much, much closer to the finish. We're seeing not much change up at the top of the standings, but down below, plenty is moving around.
The leaderboard, has been stabilized a bit more now. After 10 matches, you get a sense of which duos are at the top, which ones have a long ways to go if they want to pick up that crown, but it makes it that much more interesting. These top duos, some of them have these early game kind of risky situations. Let's see what happens. Let's get into the 10th match. I'm excited, Levin.
I am super excited, and I know all the people watching are as well, but I'm even more excited to see what will happen off spawn. As always, who will it be victorious in these battles? We saw here at the Rave Cave earlier, Thomas and Trippin had their fair share of struggles. Will that happen again? It doesn't seem like it. Force? Wait, what's Force doing? But we've seen so many. How many teams? All right, this is me, 11-2K, right now, calling to all the teams playing in the finals. How many times are we going to see you switch things up off spawn? This has not switched up, though. This has not changed. Extreme and Prototype against Tayson and Chapik. It's happening again. It's just going to be the 4-0. Tayson is down. Chapik is down as well.
Wow.
4-0 to Podesite and Xweez.
Does that make it 5-5, Levin? Are we tied right now? From day one being 5-1 to now being 5-5. This is crazy. This is insane. Trulex, Chico, and Rocky Reels as well. They've had some early game engagements, but the ones we've been seeing from Tayson, Chapix, Xweez, Podesai, it's been crazy.
I am just flabbergasted. I am lost for words about what we are seeing here. Yesterday, when Tayson and Chapix 4-0'd Podesai and Xweez, the whole world watched and thought, wow, that's crazy. Like, that doesn't happen. And now today, we're seeing just the complete reverse happen. And so, based off of that, should we be expecting, Tayson and Chapix to win the next game and then Podesai and Xweez to do it in game 6? I feel like that's clearly what's going to happen if we're basing it off of yesterday. But wow, this is an off-spawn battle of the ages.
Look, I'm curious to what happened, right? From Tayson and Chapix being 5-1 to now being tied, did Podesai and Xweez change something, or is it just RNG?
Well, it's not much you can change. The nature of this battle is it's very 50-50. It's about who lands first and who's able to get the right weapons in the right places and who hits the shots needed. And so, as much as, yes, you can put in extra practice into, your drops. I know Chapix and Tayson specifically were doing a lot of drop practice, even missing other tournaments in an attempt to practice their drops. Ultimately, it is so 50-50 that, yeah, this was sort of bound to happen, you could argue.
Fremont and Fakey, though, they've got the other side of the blade in this match. Last one going to Vortex and High Chris. Now with the quick peek from Fremont, quick box taking down High Chris. Was this a 1 versus 2 that he was able to come out on the other side of?
Fremont's a monster. Fremont is. I'm still waiting for a game where Fremont just pops off in endgame. I'm missing it, man. I miss the days where we got to see that more often. That's the kind of entertainment we want here in EU. Over at the Rave Cave, Trippin and Thomas are together, both alive, which is a great thing for the two of them. Seti and Cammy are on the rise. This is a team who you predicted to win the whole thing to Carter, and it hasn't quite been the performance anybody would have been expecting. But you happy to see them rising back up the standings now?
It's mixed emotions. They're more a top 5 duo in my mind, but I thought this would be the one they take home. We'll see if they can change something up in these last matches. But for Jepko, Karma here, although Fakey did get the nice 1 versus 2, it wasn't enough to pick up his duo partner and continue pushing forwards. He has gone down. And looking back, another side of the map, Blotcha and Combat. We haven't seen a lot of this duo.
Yeah, but to be fair, they've not been too bad. I think for a team of their standard, of their quality, I feel like they've had some nice moments in day 1. Day 2, I'm not too sure. We've not seen much of them at least in day 2, right? So we'll see. But for the Polish duo, I think they definitely have shocked a lot of people this season, and it's good to see them here, right? Even if they aren't competing with, the Janice and Vidils at the top of the standings, this is a great foundation to build off of.
Looking over at 4ZR, though. Ooh, this is dangerous. This is more than dangerous. This is, can you make it out, 4ZR? A sliver
You can't.
of
You've been down to
HP.
3.
Nico sniffing you down, trying to find you. As Freight might have been the one that found him first. Blixie close by as well. And Vico has decided now, with another duo close by, 4ZR gone, he's going to go right back to where he came from.
Unfortunate for Vico. When you put in so many hard yards to try getting a limb, and another team steals it from right underneath your nose, it can be a bitter feeling, a bitter taste in your mouth it leaves. But it is the nature of the game. For Queasy and Veno, this has been in their nature. They have positioned themselves up on this shifty hill every game where the zone allowed for it. Both of them splintered. Queasy on this hill, Veno positioned a bit further towards the south. It means they have such a wide range of angles to look from and spot players out all across the map. And it's been something that's been relatively uncontested for the most part, right? We've not seen them have too many issues when taking those positions. They have so much map control, but that's the ultimate goal in the earlier stages, to gain map control.
What's good is for this match, the zone has pulled more north. It is first zone, so things can change, but so far, it's a north pull. So for Queasy and Vino, being on top of that shifty hill, it's going to be in an amazing position, especially when these players start rotating deeper into the zone and crossing their line of sight up above. It's like Arter might do shortly. He has lost Mixon. His duo partner's down. He has to make something happen.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you're Queasy and Vino, with how north the zone has pulled, you can very much anticipate a double pull towards the north, right? And so they're just going to be able to sit there for ages and just take shots at people. You can see Mustache postured up towards the north there. He has a line of sight on this battle. So if they do expose themselves, might have him taking shots at their corner. For Squeeze, though, and Podesite, they were actually able to pick up another limb, add it to their collection of Tayson and Chappiks. What a collection that is, by the way.
I wonder how many more eliminations they have than Tayson and Chappiks. The majority of their backpack. As now, with that zone pulling north, these players that were more south have a long ways to go. But for Strokey and Kylie, they're close. And without too many duos surrounding them, could be a positive or a negative, depending on how much damage they have and what they need. But a free rotate, it can be nice.
Yeah, they won't be too contested out here. Not many players in the vicinity. And that's what they need. We've seen this team when they're playing on a congested side of zone with so many players around them. Their decision-making hasn't been up to scratch at times. So there aren't too many players to give them issues. It allows them an easier passage towards getting to the end game.
Showing Ziandi now. Boxed up in the center of the map by Loot Lake. But with just 20 seconds left, I'm curious to see where the second zone pulls. Will it be a double far pull up north in the mountainous area? Or will we have that contrary pull as it goes back down south? These players, some of them who are already positioned in, will be thinking about it
There's no
and
way
depending on it.
There's no way this
You don't think
back.
so?
It's going north.
Chat,
Come on.
is it going to pull up? It
course it is.
does. The
Come on,
double
man.
far pull. Levin knows it. Close to that logjam Lotus. And for those duos that are already based up there, you know, they're feeling happy.
Of course, that's part of playing, right? When you are a player, when you play so many scrims, so many practice games, so many tournaments, you start getting familiar with zones, right? You start recognizing zones that you've played before, and oftentimes you want to have plans for each one. It'll be interesting to see what Hennemis and Savage do, whether they have a plan for this zone. Right now, it is just to move towards Shifty and get their wood up. Along the way, there are some players causing them issues.
Issues that aren't too troublesome currently. As Hen looking to take some pop shots onto Podosai X Squeeze. With the Shifty Shaft duos finding those opportunities to take shots onto Hen. Hen, you got to build a bit quicker there. He's been cracked down to 50, forced to pop a flopper. Now, gonna have to use those remaining shields. He has some minis, some splashes. Although I don't know if it would be worth it to use splashes here. Hopefully you can conserve them. As Arter now still without Mixon. He did go down earlier, and he's continuing.
Yeah, it's interesting. This team's been doing really well, but of course here, with Mixon being down, it's a bit of a concern. We actually have Minimine on the sidelines to give us a quick update. What's going on with this team, Mini?
Well, Levin, they've started off really, really well. I want to dissect why that could be. Of course, we see Artur landing really, really north, really, really far away from Mixon. And this is just allowing him to get so much extra loot. We'll be able to see in a second how good his loot is. Just as a solo coming out of this drop shot gives him so much extra sort of real estate on the whole area. We can see Mixon landing towards the sort of southern side of that as well. But Mixon goes to this little area, you know, the North Loot Lake area, decides to box up, thinks, okay, this is great, but look at his loadout. This is what ultimately caused him to go down. There's a player that pushes him, and of course that DMR inside of the box, it's not going to do any good for you. So unfortunately for Mixon, he did go down, and again, they were very, very split. So now, as we see, of course, Artur as a solo, we do see him getting some tags, but is it going to be enough? Will he be able to get the reboot off? We'll have to wait and see.
We'll have to wait and see, but it's interesting to see those temporary weapons and what they can cause. But Rabob now happy with that quick elim, but based on where he is in the zone, he's got a long ways to go.
A long, long distance to cover. Well, it's one he'll have to make, right? We say it like he has a choice. Oh, I don't want to go zone today. No, I'm fine. I'll
Stay inside.
I'll stay in the storm.
Cherry and Pachara, though, they're in the storm, but they're a hungry duo that's in the storm. Vico popping some bandages. He has a lot of heals here to recuperate the HP. It could give him that advantage in this fight, which allows him to play it slower without worries of going down to the storm. But the issue is, even if they come out on top here, the zone's closing second after second. And Cherry, Pachawa, they've realized this. They have the advantage of the 1 versus 2, but they don't want to risk both going down after on the way back to zone. So Janice and Vidil securing a nice dead side position. They do have a lot of damage, not having the eliminations, but with the tags they've gotten throughout the match, They're playing it a bit safer, but now that iDrop has spotted them out, but he gets annihilated by Vidil, dropped down to 49 HP. Might just let them rotate after that.
That is not good from iDrop at all. He'll be feeling that pain. It's gonna cost him a couple big pots as well. The zone does pull further towards the northeast. Once again, triple pull north.
Dangerous for the South teams.
Yeah, but look, we're seeing Janice and Vidil, how they've approached it, right? They're all the way south in Greasy Grove. And they found themselves in what is a nice position, and they're dealing good amounts of damage at the expense, of course, of iDrop. But they don't care. They'll keep on moving. Thomas and Trippin, though, obviously, we know they're trying to mount a comeback, and last game was a bit of a setback. However, back in this one, there is still a chance for them. What do we have here, though? Oh, dearie me.
Uh-oh. Has he done it? It looked like he was almost able to get the reboot there as I saw the animation. But when Storm Surge started ticking, I believe Ardor realized that he no longer has that opportunity. Does go down. And Merstash and Malibuka, 12 chug splashes just in Merstash's inventory. 50 above. They want to get a bit more damage. Being down below in the shifty shafts, they don't have a lot of vision, but with so many duos close by, it is a congested side of zone. All the duos that have to rotate from their POIs in the south, the majority of them on this side. So it should have some openings for Merstash and Malibuka, but they're going to choose to get a position first, then look back, do the damage. It's already reached the 64 player threshold for Storm Surge to no longer be active here in this zone. So the rotates are going to continue coming through.
Italian for Strokey. Just above in terms of surge, we saw them rotating without many people to take shots at. And now that they are in zone, there are plenty of opportunities around. It's just about picking the right one. Mustache is getting into boxes. Nebs, knock, knock. Who's there? It's Mustache. Wow.
Nevs sent to sleep, waiting for the battle bus to come pick him up for match 11 because he's out of match 10. And now Merstash and Malibuka getting a huge impact frag. Gonna permit them to have the freedom to not have to do too much damage moving forwards. Now also capped on materials, capped on chug splashes, capped on almost everything you want in a late game. Being in the second place spot, this could be what permits them to take that crown and put it on their heads in the first place spot. But it's all up to their opponents. Pinka Nas, Janice Vidil, all these players that are at the top.
Yeah, and for Pink and Anas, they've done a great job of sort of holding this position. But there's not been much of that surge into that top one contention. When are we going to see them have their vintage pop-off game? I know they were thinking about maybe playing for hype today a bit more. It's not something they've done at all in this competition. But if there was ever a time to whip that out of the locker, it would be now. Because teams like Mustache and Malibuka here on our screens have just been so dominant on that layup, wiping teams out as they please. In another game where they are set up to do just exactly that.
What I love to see is when Merstash and Malibuka, they're in the zone. They already have damage. They already have loot, materials. They have everything they need, but they're still looking for more. They know how confident of a duo they are. And when they see a chance to, especially if it's a solo, or they get that entry possibility, you see them continuing with their aggression. And for Tripper and Thomas, they had a rough start, but it looks like they've been able to make a comeback, because you can't get those comebacks without a setback. So now Tripper and Thomas, almost 1,000 above. They have a long ways to go for zone, but with the loot, with the resources they have, if they're able to pick the right path, they could be able to do just that.
Joe and Ziandi have fallen a bit in the standings, just one place. We saw them in second earlier. That was taken out of their hands, ripped away from them. But can they snatch it back? That will be the question. They're not doing too good when it comes to surge. They need to do a bit more damage. And a 93 above. certainly is opportunities for that. Cammy and Seti now actually in the top 10. Who would have thought?
Slowly but surely, Levin. This is what I like to see. 2 games after this left for this duo. If they can have a strong match now, this could be the start to day 2, Cammy and Seti. We're used to seeing them perform incredibly strong in day 1 and not as strong in day 2, but it could be opposite day. Could be the time for them to make something happen. But switching over to Mr. Savage and Hen, they're running pretty low on resources and loot.
Janice and Badil down below on Surge. Is this something I expected to see? Certainly not. Not one bit, not at all. Thomas and Trippin up above Surge is something I do expect to see, and getting a zone pull as well. Oh my, oh my.
Oof.
The Fortnite Lords are favoring the Danes right now with a bit of zone luck. To be fair though, for Janice and Badil, they have the same fortune, but will they capitalize on it? They're so fortunate. There was a team taken out there that meant that they actually go above Surge, even without having to deal damage. So again, a bit of luck going their way, but that's what you need sometimes to win big events. Even with all their skill, all their preparation, they need a couple things to go their way, and they are right now. But can they now take advantage of that?
I don't know if it's the green striker shotgun in their inventory giving them the luck, but with the zone pull, with the Storm Surge luck, hopefully they can capitalize on that. As now the zone begins to close, the players have to make it into that half in, half out. So much vision onto the ones, especially who rotate first, as now Hen might have just been cut off here. Savage is forced to help a partner out, but he gets picked off now. It's all up to Hen. This could be some quick presence for Merstash and Malibuka. They continue though. Kylie and his duo partner are the ones that secure Hen and Mr. Savage. Merstash, Malibuka, they don't want to do anything risky. They have the damage, they have the loot, and for the positioning, I saw Pink and Nos, I saw Walks, Rabob. They're looking for that high elevation. And Joe and Ziandi, they're looking for something else. They're down below. They're staying aware. And now with just 5 seconds left until that 6th zone. First moving. Will Ziandi be able to find an opening? No, but the zone does pull back. This is good for this duo.
This is actually incredibly good for them, because when you look at what they were working with by way of materials, anything that can save them a couple mats here and there will go a long, long way. For Nas and Pink though, I did say earlier, are they going to start playing high? It's something that they wanted to do, and maybe this might be the chance. They're the only ones that have built up for it. Oh no, there is a team across there. So they do have to stay careful, but they have the zone pull, and so they will start to build across. If they want to hold height, the opportunity is here for them.
This could be their matchup above, and Merstash has gone down. Malibuka once again forced to do it alone. It was Walks and Rabob on the opposite height. Will they be able to take the battle against Pink and Anas, or Pink and Anas can be able to maintain it? Malibuka continues running through, but he gets surprised with a player in front of him, and now he's going to spend some time in the back of the zone. He does have the chug splashes he can use to tank the storm damage, but this is bad. If he spends too much time here, he's going to get into zone without a lot of loot. He's going to have players looking at him, and with just 4 chug splashes left, it's getting more and more dangerous.
He will get into zone. At what cost? Look at what he's working with in HP. He is not too far away from being sent right back to the lobby. And these last couple chug splashes will go a long way for him if he chooses to use them. But right now, just opts him to run into the zone and find a good position. And then finally, but this is a surprise of the ages. A first to the FNCS final, maybe. Seti and Cammy currently hold high ground. And what a game to do it. Here in number 10, they hold the keys, but need to be careful because Queasy and Veno at the front side, or at least Queasy is, and he's looking up.
A surprise you like to see, but Malibuka is also surprising me here. Well, honestly, it's not much of a surprise. We know how dominant this player is, clutching it alone. And now for Janice, who's been dropped down to 2nd place. He's also playing it alone, getting picked by Storm Surge. An incredible amount of damage below the Storm Surge threshold. Only 1 more mini left. This is dangerous.
mind though, because players have gone down. He just needs to focus on staying alive right now. So many players going down. Pandemonium across the lobby. Joe and Ziandi have done so brilliantly to take a lot of players out, some of their biggest competitors. And now it's going to be about trying to do that again as Janice is lurking around. Can they find him and secure that? Finken and Ash finally are taken now. It's Bevies who will do it, but Queasy quickly trading in that regard. Thomas and Trippin still remain up in this game.
They're looking strong, but they're getting cut off here in the storm. You have to hit your edits as now the grapple gloves come through. Seti and Cammy still up above. We're not used to seeing them this high in the sky, but they are dominating it as Joe gets cracked. Gonna get knocked as well. Now Ziandi left alone for Creasy. Another player that's alone is gonna do a medkit play. He wants to recuperate his HP. He has the resources to do so. And for Thomas and Tripperin, they're continuing strong.
Thomas and Trippin down below in their element. Can they start hitting some big shots? 3 eliminations and looking to add a couple more. So much fighting happening in the back of the storm. And X3s look like the ones to stay above it. Artskill will fall as he knocks on the wrong door. Thomas and Trippino still win this game, but need to find a way to get up this hill, but they don't have any materials.
The zone is in favor of Seti and Cammy as it pulls uphill. This makes it incredibly difficult for the players down below. Thomas forced to use the med miss, but he's surviving. So many players going down, already top 3, just 5 players left. He hits the first shot, gets the second one, but can he get the finish? He needs it. He gets the siphon. Thomas is still up, and now it's Paco. It's Thomas down below in the dirt, and Seti and Cammy just waiting to get that crown.
Seti and Cammy hold the prime position. There is no better place to be in this game than where they are right now. Both of their opponents just trying to heal off, but eventually they will fall and Seti and Cammy will rise. This is perfect for the Polish boys as they try to mount what has been a big comeback. Awful in day 1, but here in day 2, they're looking much better.
It's opposite day 11. Seti and Cammy are looking to make something happen in the second day. Playing on the high ground and doing it perfectly. They have those grapple gloves. They saw the chance, the opportunity. They capitalized on it, and it got them the victory royale.
This has been something we have talked about in EU competitive Fortnite for so long. This is a team that has shown in the past they are elite in mid and low. Could they do it on height? They never seem to want it. But this season, they started getting coached by the one and only BloodX and finally started looking up to the skies. And now they're doing this here in the biggest stage, the hardest lobby in the world. And they're winning games to win it. Cammy and Seti win game 10 from height.
The lights are shining brighter. Pushed up to 8th place. They got themselves in the top 10 for once. And now it's giving them a bit more confidence. There's still 2 matches to be played out. This could be an opportunity for them.
Yeah, for sure. This is going to be a huge game, not just for the standards, but for the confidence. They've needed this kind of performance, and they're going to need a couple more. There are still 2 games left. So while we take a quick little break, we're going to send it to Zeke, Taco, and Reese.
The penultimate game here on the horizon. But in game 10, Cammy and Seti finally get themselves a win. They break in at top 10, and now, Reese, I mean, they have to... Maybe first place a little too far, but top 5, that's sounding extremely reasonable.
They don't want a top 5. Cammy and Seti won a first place, but with 2 games left, I think like the point disparity is just going to be too much.
It's just going to boil it down to how many elims they're able to accrue throughout these final 2 matches, on top of being able to replicate maybe some more Victory Royale finishes, because I love this gameplay from them, completely controlling the high ground. Speaking of Nas, I think we saw at one point trying to contest, but they just weren't able to actually stick around on top. And I think a lot of this is just tested to the fact that Cammy and Seti just pushed everyone back.
They did indeed. And what's interesting is the fact that, you know, you're talking about they need 2 big elim games to come off. I mean, they had 6 or 7, I think actually 7 games in a row where they had 0 eliminations. So, I mean, for them to pick up 2 massive high elimination games in the last 2, maybe kind of unlikely.
We'll have to see. But here's a look at our standings. So remember, keep it in the back of your mind. We have 2 games left to go. It's extremely close, man. Badil and Janice, Merstash and Malibuka, they're your first and second place teams. They just keep doing this little dance, Reese. They, you know, they pull ahead, then they go down. Then the other team, Badil and Janice, are allowed to pull back ahead because Janice is just solo clutching, keeping himself alive. This is going to go down. This is going to be a nail-biter, man.
It'll go down to the final game, game number 12, undoubtedly between the 2 of them. Both have 2 wins. Both have the same rough elims. Both have the same amount of placement points. Like, the way that they're playing is so close. Actually, I just want to highlight, that's what I was talking about. 14 elims, 30, 14, 28, 22. You know, that's how just little they've been fragging out on their side.
Well, I have to also point out the fact that Joe and Zandy, I mean, we saw them actually duking it out with the first and second place duos, but more importantly is the fact that Joe and Zandy, the fact that they eliminated one of those top two duos.
I think it was Vidil,
I believe it was Vidil and Giannis. It got a little bit hectic there, but more importantly, that was actually a saving grace here for Queasy and Veno. That actually helped Queasy and Veno to overtake Joe and Zandy, despite the fact that they were the ones to in one of the top duos.
I know, and what's really interesting, actually looking at the points where Queasy, Vino, and Joe and Zandy are, it's like if either Mustache Malabuka, Vidil, Janis go down early in the next game, they've caught up. They're in that contention for first. So for, you know, guys, I also want to look at like Tripper and Thomas HD, for example. Like, obviously, they're doing super well. But now we want to go to the Vidil and Janis. This is where they're struggling. 393 below the Storm Surge.
This is without a doubt probably the worst game that we have seen for them in terms of their surge management. And honestly, I think a lot of that's just attributed to the fact that there was just so much congestion inside of those moving zones and going up and down the hills. It's just so problematic to actually try and maintain any sort of mid-ground control when you're constantly trying to also scurry upwards. They were struggling, I think, as well with their materials. And so when you add all these factors together, it just makes it so problematic to actually stay on top.
It does, but they've done it. And that was one of the games that was so interesting. I think either 2 games ago, it was pretty much the exact same zone. However, they came with cap mats, tons above surge. So that game obviously not coming out so perfect for them.
Yeah, and I actually want to double back to Thomas HD and Tripper. And so for you all at home, remember, if a duo goes down, they're kind of like frozen in time, right? They can't accrue more points. For this duo, if they just keep up that consistency factor, we see those top 5, top 6 go down, they could very well make it into top 5.
Yeah, they absolutely could. And again, I want to see it. Thomas HD has had the most amount of top 5 finishes in the FNCS finals without winning one. 6 to date. And right now he's looking to get a 7th, which is unfortunate because we want to see Thomas win. He's a caliber of a player that not only could win, should win an FNCS.
But I love that elim that he managed to find there on Krusty at the very end, because that is really what ensured that he was actually able to finish in that second place position. And they needed that because right now every single point counts. They've broken the 200 threshold. That's the most important part, because it's not impossible if we're able to see Vidil, Giannis, Mustache Malabuka actually fall early, which we have been seeing some of these teams in the more late kind of placements actually look for those aggressive challenges, because they might not be in contention for top 5, but they'll make sure that these other teams aren't either.
Yeah, look, I would look at Malabuka and Mustache. We're going to roll some clips, but I want to ask you two a question. I want to see what goes on here. What do you think is going to happen? 2 points between the two of them. Give me your predictions for the top 2 teams and what's going to happen here.
Joe and Zandy are going to take over.
Oh, okay.
Wow. Okay, I think Malabuka and Mustache could actually overtake Vidil and Janis to win.
Okay.
And I say that because I cast a curse them now, and my prediction wins.
All right, okay. So selfish pick from Zeke. I like it.
But they're going to tunnel too much on each other. I think at this point, Malabuka, Mustache, Giannis, Vidil, they are starting to... It's hard not to hyperfixate on your direct competition. And I think that's really the threshold where we'll start to see Queasy and Veno, or potentially Joe and Zandy. I'm really... It's hard not to pull for Joe and Zandy with some of the highlights that we've been seeing from this duo.
Okay, my one, quickly. Malabuka and Mustache win a game, but Vidil wins overall.
Oh, okay. So we have kind of a little bit of everything.
Got a bit of everything.
A little bit of everything.
Highs, lows. That's my guess.
All right, I love to see it. This is it, the penultimate game, which means we have only 2 left. Hang on, man. The action's about to crank itself way up there. This is game 11 of the FNCS Finals.
Game 11.
You said it yourself, Zeke. Just 2 games left. The leaderboard has been stabilized, and we have an idea of which are the top teams. But the question is, who's going to be able to take it home? The battle bus is ready. The players are dropping in. The stage is set, and so much is waiting to happen.
There are a lot of battles we are eagerly waiting to see conclude. And what a better time than now? As all these players do everything they can to win in these last couple. It's very, very important that you don't slip up now. There's not many opportunities after this one. But who will do it at North New Lake? Xweeze has landed first again. And so Chapix and Tayson start off on the back foot. Tayson's already fallen, and Chapix might be following. But Malabuka Mustache from way downtown coming in clutch for Chapix, it seems. And so now Podesai versus Chapix. And finally, Chapix and Tayson win. The assist from Malabuka Mustacho inadvertently. Oh, dearie me. 4-1 on the day. And literally a reverse of what we saw yesterday.
The absolute opposite from yesterday. 5-6 all throughout both days. Mustache Malabuka, you said it yourself, Levin. The third party came through, and Tayson and Chapix did as well. You know, I'm curious to see, Levin, now. They've been knocked out of the spawn every game today except for this one. Is this one game they're getting to play out? Are they going to make it a big one?
You gotta hope so, right? They don't really have much of a choice. They've literally not been allowed to play 4 of the 6 games today. When you get a chance, you better take it.
For Kezix and Forziar, though, didn't give their opponents much of a chance at all.
Yeah, Chicho and Trulex have really struggled here at Rocky Rails, which is unfortunate. They were the Rocky owners coming into the FNCS final, but I think ownership has been forcefully taken over by Forziar and Kezix.
And also for Fico and Jackson. Fico's been left alone as Jackson has gone down. Happened so quickly, but a duo we've been keeping our eyes on as well. Tripper and Thomas. They've had issues in the early game. But now with 2 more matches left, they want to set themselves up for the 12th match of the day in a way where they can take home a good piece of the prize.
It's so sad, but I just know they're going to finish third. It's just written in the stars. They're going to finish third again. Like, make sure to come back to this because it is going to happen. It's so obvious with these guys. The script is there.
I wouldn't be surprised. We know Tripper and Thomas. But a third's better than a 6th place. And they still have a lot of work to do, even if they want that. Let's see a replay of some elims here from Fakey and Fremont. Down in the Reality Falls. Disengagement against High Chris and Vortex. It's been going on for, it feels like, centuries. And in this case, I was going to say, it looks like it's going to Fakey and Fremont, and it does. Vortex was so low that it did go down there.
Another game where it goes to those two. We saw that last game as well. And so for High Chris and Vortex, going into that final game, game 12, you'd hate to have to go down again. They have to make it count in that last one. But again, literally, we'll only have one more chance in this FNCS final.
We just saw Seti and Cammy on the screen, and that's an interesting fact. I mean, the elims they got from the last match with the VR was the same amount as all the other matches combined. I mean, it's impressive that they're in the top 10 right now. It shows that even if they don't get a lot of elims, the consistency, even in the worst scenarios, it's there. If they can finish just as strong as they did in the last match for the rest of these matches today, it would be impressive.
It does make you wonder what would have happened if they didn't have some of the off-spawn struggles they had in day one. Again, that is, maybe something for another day. Let's focus on the here and now. What is the reality? That is Karma and Jackpo up against ADN and Hardfine once again in a battle that has been so consistent, so relentless, and seemingly not too beneficial for either team. But at the end of the day, with not many games left, they'll just be wanting to get the one up on each other.
So remember, every single placement takes a piece of the prize. You always want to do your best here. Even if you're in 29th, you can still bump yourself up the leaderboard, and it can be a bit more of that prize money, of that pride. As now ADN has been taken out. Japco Karma with the upper hand now. Hardfine left alone. He continues to play it slow. You see him up above, but the sprint comes through. The disengagement. As now Lucia and Frizzy are in a position where they can't make a disengagement. Not yet. JJ too close by. Low shield. One big shot could be enough to grant Lucia and Frizzy that chance to keep pushing forwards. They recuperate their missing HP with the Chug Splash. being in the Sleepy Sounds. You can see the bottom right of the mini-map. There's a couple duos close by, but it doesn't seem like the eyes are on their fight. For Joe and Ziandi, though, it's pure tranquility.
A third place team here. They've rotated quite a distance already, getting out of that synapse area, rather swiftly using those rifts that they have available to them. Now as they head towards this tilted area, what will they find? Will Mr. Savage and Henby lurking about? We've seen them hang around tilted quite a long time in some of these games. Will they maybe find Vico and Jackson somewhere nearby? They go further north to the Shifty Shaft. They will find Vino waiting on this hill that he does every single game the zone pulls north. And just a reminder, it's another north game. So, again,
will it double up, though, this time, Levin? Will it double up again? Will it triple up like it did in the last one?
It's definitely going to pull north again. That's a spoiler alert for you. But if we will get a triple pull or not, I'm not sure. It's always hard to predict the triple pull. Definitely going to pull north again. Mark my words.
You got the 11-2K guarantee on that one.
Of course, that is the 11-2K guarantee, 100%.
All right. I'll go back to that. If it doesn't pull north twice, Levin, I'm just saying. But Vico is going to go back to having a duo partner as he picks up Jackson. He lost them early on. Reboot comes in as now in the Greasy Grove. That's not as north as you'd like to be with the zone. Saw some shots come in, too, so there are some duos down there. But a duo that came from the Greasy Grove, Janice Vidil, already at the Rave Cave. Almost full materials, only have used up that wood to rotate. They have the shield, they have the ammunition, and they're ready.
They love to come towards this sort of northwest side. It's one of their favorite places to rotate via. Ooh, JJ, okay. Make that SMG work, my friend.
Good job, good job. Mr. Savage as well, with an Elam on the board. Still in the Tilted Towers, though. This is a duo that's had some trouble before rotating. But for now, they seem to be playing it a bit sneaky.
Sneaky, for sure. Well, we do have Mini Man on the sidelines here to bring us an update in this penultimate game. Mini, what do you have for us, my friend?
I do indeed. Now, we saw Janice and Vidil going down to Surge in the previous game. This game, they're hoping to make that not happen again. They're trying to get as many tags as they can as possible early on. So we can see them hiding inside of the bushes, getting really, really solid tags. So hopefully they won't be below on Surge. And with that incredible loot that they both have, I think they'll be looking to, put it to good use.
Thank you, Mini Miner. I hope they do put it to good use. And I also hope that Thomas HD can put his mechanics to good use here. He's going to have to do just that when you're going against two of the titans of the European region, Tayson and Chapix.
These are former teammates going at each other right now, Tayson and Thomas. Who will be the ones to get the best of each other? This is literally some of the best Fortnite players ever battling it out right now. And it looks like Tayson and Chapix are on the hunt for Thomas. They do not want to let him survive. And they're going to keep on breaking through all these builds as they go about. But he will use the porta potty to get away. And they will chase. Interesting. Okay, so they're going right at it. They're not even scared of a bait. They just want to jump right back in. Maybe that's going to cost them if they're not careful here. But eventually Thomas will get boxed up. Oh my goodness. The Peace Police just called. And they want to take Tayson away. But it's actually not going to be them that gets the elimination. I believe it was Yandy that
Yeah, I saw
sold it
that.
away in the feed.
I'm wondering how Ziandi found the angle. And a 180 from Chapix, perfectly lined up shot. Using those buses, as Reese would say, are the porta potties. Make an escape happen. But the escape wasn't enough. As now Ziandi, this is where he got that little elimination from. But oh no, Jackson, your duo partner picked you up. Will you be able to make something happen in the Reality Falls? Zone has pulled north again. 11-2 guarantee. Showing how strong it is. But for T, Chips, and Art Skill, this is not good at all, 11. Even if they get an elim here to make it back to zone, they could use the Reality Falls tree, rotate but it's going to be hard.
Oh, for sure. But nothing ever comes easy if it's good, right? So they have to just get on with it. Down that below on Surge, though, is more than a mountain to climb. We'll call it that. Especially with T-Chips and Art Skill here. I don't see a world where this is that possible of a fight to win. He might just have to try and escape. I don't think T-Chips knows where he's gone.
Kind of lost in the zone here.
Yeah, he spotted him now, so at least they know his whereabouts. And he's not got much HP to work with, so you've got to think it's only a matter of time until he falls. He's making it very hard for him, I'm not going to lie.
I mean, Jackson's doing what he wants to right now, and it's make sure that T-Chips and Art Skill have a trouble time.
I like that. I like that.
With the zip line used to break the builds from Jackson. The quick shot coming in. They've got the elimination, but will they be able to make it back to zone? That is the question.
That was cheeky. It did take him a moment to realize he could use the zip line, but once he did, it did pay off.
Thinking of Nos. Looking strong. They could have a bit more materials, but it's not too bad at all. They've made it to zone. A lot of players close by in shifty shafts. Looting up what hasn't been looted yet. The shield keg, luckily enough, now 2 in the inventory as they continue to refarm the resources they're missing.
Yeah, it's a big couple of games for these two. A real test of their character and who they are as players. Can they handle this pressure? They've come so close in the past, but never this close to that ultimate prize. Can they hold their nerve, keep their cool? I certainly believe in them. For Veno and Queasy, they currently are second place, and that is huge for this team. The two players who have won FNCSs this year in the lobby, currently playing together this season. And even though they've had a couple hiccups across the past 11 games, they've made it count when necessary. And that's why they sit so close behind.
They're getting great zones, too. 2 north pulls towards Queasy and Veno when their opponents tied up there. Well, not tied, but very close to first place on the edge. Having to rotate from Greasy Grove all the way up 2 zones in a row where Queasy and Veno get to play on the Shifty Shafts Hill, taking shots at the players, rotating. They've been getting the good zones, but are they going to be able to capitalize it more than Janus and Vidil are going to try and pop off in these last 2 matches, set themselves up for the last game? Kali and Fastroki, no shields, low HP, on the borderline of Storm Surge. This duo, they're in a dangerous situation.
Dangerous situation indeed. Kylie almost being taken out here. Fastroki is solo as well, but with just 12 HP and only 20 builds to be placed. What can Kylie do to stay in this game? Making use of this building is going to be huge. There is a chest in there as well. Maybe we can give him some loot that will allow him to get that HP back up, but that was very scary for the two. He actually did go down. Kylie gets taken out by Andalex, so he wasn't able to survive. And Andalex and Stacey will be on their way. They want to get to zone. That's their priority.
Paco and Krusty continuing to wait for the opening. They know that they have players looking to make the rotate, and there it is. Fastroki, Kylie, gone down. As now we look around the map, the Shifty Shafts Hill up above, reaching the clouds. Players based up all around the hill. And a duo like Seti and Cammy, they're 55 below, but that's not the problem. They're looking to make something happen. Bumped all the way up to 6th place already. From not being in the top 10 throughout the whole tournament almost, to now having a chance to make it into that top 5. It's what they're looking to do.
This duo has had the comeback of the ages, it seems. and they are continuing to make waves in this lobby. Mr. Savage and Hen are falling. Who else is going to be following them? Seemingly a lot of players. Seti actually having to be revived right now. We know they need to get more eliminations, but they can't afford to lose their lives as a result of it.
Uh-oh. No shields for Cammy. Seti, though. Big pot, 2 chug splashes. They are 95 above now. Storm Surge no longer active for this zone. But they need some shields.
And fast.
They continue to rotate through. Cammy.
Cammy can be a bit more brazen in his role. Seti has to be a bit more careful with every movement he makes.
Thinking of Nos now. They see it. They know the line. They have the vision. And they continue. It seems like they already have a little base of tarp made into zone. Pink. Nice shots coming through on one of each player of the duo. As now they continue to run through. Sprinting into the zone, but they are going to be basing up beside Meristache and Malabuka. We know how confident they are taking those fights, but being the second to last game, they want to get as many points as possible.
Oh dear.
And for Hellfire, who's stuck on the side of the hill, sliding his way down with just 41 HP and no spare shields, now boxed up by his opponent, he goes down.
That is so awkward of a spot to be in for Hellfire. Drops his way into the wrong box. Flois chose the right direction to move into. Unfortunately, he's not going to stay alive for much longer. There were so many players still watching his position and taking shots at him. That's the end of the run for that duo. They still do have one more game, but they go into it with not the best of morales.
Take a replay, though. See what happened from Mr. Savage and Hen. They found a player in the bush. They connected the shots they needed to.
Okay.
But will it be enough for them to continue pushing forwards? As Janice and Medeal also were able to pick up elimination, and it's unfortunately going to be in Hen. That duo is no longer going to be in this match. But for Seti and Cammy, if they're able to get a refresh, it could be enough to continue that comeback. They see Clown, they see Refsguard, they're close by. They need a couple eliminations, they need a bit of shield, and they're just looking for it.
Moustache goes down in the feed. That's huge for the standings. Malabuka now is left as a solo. This is going to be monumental. If he is not able to stay alive, that is going to be perfect for Janice and Vidil. What can he do? Veno actually going down in the feed as well, and so Queasy is going to be left all alone potentially to try and hold on to the position behind. It's so tight at the top, but both of these teams are struggling. What can Malabuka do? We've seen him with some crazy clutch moments in the past. Picking up the med miss, that's going to be key. It gives him time in the zone. But is he going to be able to stay alive?
Oh, it's dangerous. It's Pink. It's a Nos. They're close by. Malabuka, if he was ever going to have a solo clutch like he did in day one, this is the moment where he wants to make it happen. His opponents, who are in second place, they are on the cutoff of getting eliminated. Also playing as a solo, Malabuka has to make the far rotate, though. The zone pulled north, so he has a long ways to go. He has the shug splashes, the med miss, the shields. But if he gets caught off guard, just a few shots onto him, and he goes down just like Janice did on the feed. This just opens up that much more of an opportunity for this duo to maintain that #1 spot going into the last match.
What is going on right now? Things are getting real intense. Vidil, my friend, you must stay awake. You must make sure you don't go down to Storm. The flopper will be so essential. But hopefully he can stay alive. He can and barely make his way in. He has max materials for the most part. And so that should keep him ticking in this game. But again, all of our top 3 playing as solos right now.
This is dangerous. Fadil popping the big pot, 28 HP. That's 3 ticks to the zone, and he goes down. Here we have the perspectives. Queasy, Malabuka, Fadil. If they've ever practiced solos, this is the time where it has to show that hard work paying off. all of these duos above Storm Surge. It is up to them.
The two on the bottom have positions that are a bit more safe. Vidil, on the other hand, had to make a journey. Queasy using the grapple gloves now just to secure his spot. But with the lack of materials, it's going to be real hard. This is a blessing that was needed. But Malabuka, who has fallen, means that there is now space, there is now room. Vidil and Queasy. Vidil to hold on to first, Queasy to now push into second. Both of those players will be ecstatic, but it's more than just being ecstatic. It's about taking players down, and Vidil will take down Guden.
Guden knocked down Queasy, rotating through. He still has a lot of charges in the grapple glove. Vidil picking up that loot from the refresh. He has almost 100 builds to work with. So many resources for Vidil, and on the contrary, Queasy with only two builds to work with, and they're both wood. Queasy needs to find a refresh.
Queasy has to go insane right now. We've seen him hit big shots today. We've seen him put the team on his back at times, but this is a moment that is more than anything he's had to deal with all season long. It is going to take the very best of Queasy to make something happen now. The Medmis gives him time to lurk. He spotted some mats as well in the zone. He has eagle eyes.
Vidil, he's looking for more, but he doesn't want to do anything too risky. He wants to use these materials. He cannot go down with mats in his inventory. Joe as well, third place spot. All the top teams is a solo. 272 points on the board. He has shields, he has materials, and up top, it's Jurecki, it's eye drop, but I want to keep my eyes on Joe, Queasy. These solos, are they going to be able to clutch it up?
Queasy has done brilliantly to stay alive. Wasn't able to get much more than the siphon materials, and so he is just eagerly waiting to try and capitalize on anybody showing weakness. Vidil, though, he wants to take his destiny into his own hands. He wants to force his way into this box, and that's exactly what it looks like he'll try and do. But he needs to be careful. That is a big shot. Can he hit another one?
Joe got eliminated. Queasy goes down. It's all up to Vidil now in the top 10, 9th place currently. He's clutched the most points so far for his duo, but he can still get more. He has the shields. He's recuperating with the minis. So many players still up. A duo on high ground walks just above him. Vidil, now is the chance.
Vidil showing off his prowess and doing it in style, but eventually Wox will be the one to shut him out and send him back to the lobby. Bevy's still up. 9th place team right now. What can he do in this situation? Looks up to the skies, doesn't spot anybody, but unfortunately doesn't have the mats for it. Just opting to drop down and looking side by somebody as well. He needs to block his way off as there are players in the zone. If he's not careful, he could get taken out from behind. Jurecki picking up some shots, picking up in a limb. And this is a game that they've been waiting to play all day long. Up from above, up on high ground, the place where they're most comfortable. And we haven't seen them here. Can they close out the rest of the game?
Aware with 5 alongside JJ2, almost a double-digit elims down below, but Jurecki trying to turn into Jura King here up above, looking to take home this match. They have the positional advantage, but it's a 2 versus 2. It's not going to be easy.
Jurecki, eye drop versus JJ2 and Aware. And things are already breaking loose. Jurecki has dropped down and he's connected with the shots as well. JJ2 gets taken out. Aware just has to do everything he can. But will it be enough? He does well to stop eye drop, but eye drop finally recovers and hits a big shot. Finally, eye drop and Jurecki showing what they can do in the FNCS final and winning a game from above.
They get the crown. They get the victory royale on the second to last match. But my eyes, Levin, I want to know what happened up above. So many of the top teams were playing as a solo. The leaderboard has been shaken up. And now, going into the last match, it's where it matters most. Is Jurecki and iDrop going to be able to push the momentum forwards? Or are these top duos going to be able to get that last big match needed to take first place?
Are we going to see a celebration here from Jurecki? Nothing. A bit humble. Usually we see him getting up and dancing and whatnot. But in game 11 here, after winning it, finally announcing themselves to the rest of the lobby, they are just happy to get the victory out. And understandably, a very, very good game.
Look, every placement on the leaderboard gets you something. So getting a VR is going to bump them up quite a lot, especially being on the mid-half already. So they are looking to do the same in the last match, but so are those top teams, Levin.
Of course, and as we head into this final game, there is no better people I'd like to hand it over to than Zeke, Taco, and Reese.
Gentlemen, thank you so much. I am so unbelievably stress right now. We're gonna look at the standings in just a little bit, okay? First, I just want to give Jerky a moment in the sun, right? A huge victory royale here in the finals. A victory royale from any duo in the finals is massive. I mean, I'm just finally happy that they can, like Levin was saying, you know, showcase their skill here.
I mean, I think these guys should be a top 10 team.
Yeah.
Like, these guys should be placing in the top 10. But in all honesty, I think the biggest struggle that they're having is just their surroundings. The amount of players that are around them is pretty minimal. So for them, in terms of trying to get tags and damage, it's just going to take them so long to try and get something that has just not worked out repeatedly, game after game. It's great to see them show up in game number 11, but I wish we'd seen that game after game after game.
I think what also really helped them finding this first placement is the fact that they were actually able to hold on to hype for the vast majority of the latter half of this round. And I think that more particularly, I dropped Juriki. I mean, they've been a relatively silent duo, but this is still silent but deadly. Or excuse me, it's just dangerous.
Go. We are getting excited here as we prepare for the final game. But it's that time. Take a look together. So we're going to spend quite a bit of time here. As much time as we can to kind of break this all down for you. Remember, one game left to go. We turn our attention, Reese, to that top spot now. We can see Vidil and Janice, they're quite a bit ahead.
They are. Let me set the scene of that.
Let's do it.
If you think about Queasy and Vino, and then Joe and Ziandi in third and fourth, right? A victory royale is 32 points.
Yes.
So just with the victory royale, with those two alone, that's still not enough to overtake Vidil and Janice. So essentially, if Vidil and Janice go down early in game number, well, I was going to say 12, the last game, and get 0 points, which is extremely unlikely, you never know, then we may see a win from Queasy, Vino, Joe and Ziandi be able to overtake them on the leaderboards.
See, you say it's unlikely, but have to keep in mind, it's starting to come back to haunt them now. Vidil and Giannis from an earlier round, I believe 2 rounds ago, where they managed to actually fall early on. And it's so unfortunate because that's got to be in the back of their minds. Granted, they're definitely still sitting in that first place position. They have a little bit of a buffer zone, but it's still not enough for them to sit all that comfortable because Joe and Ziandi, I think even Queasy and Vino, we've already seen Queasy and Vino, especially with a 13 elim finish. So it wouldn't surprise me to see any of these 4 top duos actually manage to find a really high elim closer.
Yeah, and you know, obviously, we're looking at third and fourth coming up till first place. What can they do? But let's be real. Let's look at Mustache and Malabuka. They are currently 15 points behind. Now, that is a massive game. Now, my prediction before this coming in was that they're potentially going to win a game. Maybe we could see the final game, game 12, the Mustache Malabuka 10 elimination victory royale clutch win. I mean, I'm all about that.
That would be enough.
I love Vidil and I love Janice, and they are deserving champions if they win. But hey, I'm here for an exciting ending.
It's hard not to factor in Malabuka and Mustache with that finalizing close because this is a duo we've seen them time and time again. When they get into this stage of a competition, it's almost like it's their exact element they want to be in the whole way through. And it's also impressive to think about the fact that they actually have top elims here on this first page of the leaderboards, and yet they are still trailing by 15 points. So it kind of just showcases the fact that Vidil and Giannis, they have recognized, even if they're not necessarily overtaking Mustache and Malabuka and elims, they still have faith to their name. And on top of that, they are just holding on every step of the way. They are being tactical when they find themselves in those solo situations. And I think Vidil and Giannis especially, they've had moments where they've even found just really impactful refreshes.
Yeah, and I think if you're dealing with Janice right now, you're just thinking, right, what do we need to do? They probably need to secure something like 25 points to guarantee it.
Probably.
The Wave Boys, of course, have done so good. That last game from Vidil was absolutely phenomenal. If they end up winning this, Vidil absolutely will be the MVP of this tournament.
But we did see them struggle with Surge. Remember, we saw a game where they were 400 below Surge. So how do we fix that? Like, what do we need to be doing here?
Pray, firstly. Pray to the zone RNG gods that this is not yet again another North Pole. This is like the 4th game today we've seen in this zone, and the only game that was in their drop spot, Greasy Grove, was the game that they got snuck up on and didn't go down and went down early.
Exactly. And not only that, but I think that there is a certain level of paranoia that this duo is going to be operating, given the fact that it was the 50th place duo that was the duo to actually eliminate early on. So it's just, you don't want to find yourself having to depend on Malabuka or Mustache making a mistake. Badil and Giannis, they have showcased time and time again that all of those scrim bugs are certainly coming back to help them out.
I think they are. And it's all honesty, I think it's Mustache and Malabuka who are preying on the Wave Boys to make a mistake. That's in all honesty what they have to do. I think if Badil and Janice get to like a top 5 in an end game, I mean, it's going to be really difficult for Mustache and Malabuka to overtake them unless they just go off and have a little Malabuka Mustache classic.
That's right. And I mean, even if we just look past that top 5, right, for just a moment, someone like Seti and Cammy, right, they could break into that top 5. That would be huge in a difference in prize money, right? So there's so much that we're going to be talking about. Make sure you all at home, as you're watching, every single interaction, every time a duo encounters another one, someone falls, that's going to be it. This is one last time here from the FNCS Finals. I'm sweating bullets,
Me too, man. And it's not just the temperature, it's the games. We have one more left. Every single time it comes down to game number 12, when there's $300,000 on the line for first place, every single elimination counts. It can be that difference of $100,000 between first and second.
I'm just waiting to see which of these duos might be trying to play spoiler, though, to these top teams that are trying to contest between first and second and third.
Well, this is it. The last ride here in Europe from the Chapter 3, Season 3 FNCS Finals. We hope you're all ready for this. Buckle up. It's Game 12.
Game 12. The last opportunity here, game number 12. Your last chance to solidify your destiny. Who will it be as we head out of the battle bus already? Players landing. There's no more opportunities after this one.
This is it, Levin. This is literally it, the moment we've all been waiting for. Let's see which duo comes out on top. The battle of the ages. Tayson, Chapix, Podesai X Squeeze as Podesai gets knocked. Tayson and Chapix now the man advantage, and they take down both players. Well done.
Chapix and Tayson versus Podesai and X Squeeze ends 7-5 to Chapix and Tayson after 12 games. I didn't think it would go all 12, but it did. And it's hard to say somebody came out victorious, right? Both teams, you could argue, losing out. Both teams who could have done a lot better on the day had they been uncontested. But sometimes that's just not how the cookie crumbles. For Janice and Vidil, they'll be very happy about how things have panned out for them.
But will they, Levin? This last match still has to be played out. They are going into the match strong, happy, confident, excited. But so are the players close by. Mustache Malibuka, Queasy, Vino. All of these duos on the borderline of taking that first place spot. If they go down now, if they get eliminated, that's it. It's no more waiting in the lobby. It's the last chance.
Back over towards the butter barn. We've not seen this fight since earlier today, but in the last game, it will go in the favor of Flixie and Frey. And look how much it means to Flixie. I'm sure there was plenty of pain in his voice. They weren't expecting to be contested at butter barn, and unfortunately for them, they were. And it has been very, very difficult for them to deal with.
For a duo that hasn't had difficulty of spawn at all. Queasy Vino and Jones the Andy now in the Synapse Station as well. But it's more than just the early game for these duos that are uncontested. It's about the late game. 4th place spot for Ziandi and Joe. So much money on the line for this top 5. It could be one elimination that separates you from a placement. You have to do everything in your power to play the best Fortnite you can.
There is no better time than now here in Game 12, the last game, the biggest game of the season. In the most difficult lobby any of these players will play in all season long. Seti and Cammy have done such a fantastic job to right the wrongs of day one. They sat way down below in the standings as we came in today. But now they sit just outside of the top 5. What do we have here? Vortex looks like he's going down in this final game. reality falls on him, and that is that his FMCS is done. Hydro and Belusi taking them out.
Feeling good. And Pink and Anas probably feeling stressed out right now. 5th place spot. They've been playing very well. Day 1, Demon Pink looking to be awoken again in this last match. Will they be able to?
And this is just the randomest of tidbits here. But when Pink puts on that Booga outfit, it means business. I know this Percy. If he puts on that outfit, it means he's on the hunt. He's ready. Like there's no higher version of Pink and Anas than when they have those outfits on. So
let's see if that's true, 11. Let's see if they can make it happen. As Hen in the feed going down to Vico. It looks like the two duos contesting each other in Tilted Towers have had enough and want to have an engagement in this last match, but it's actually been taken out of the POI.
Way out.
Way out of the POI. How did they get over here?
Okay, well, this is interesting, right? Because these are two teams who have been landing at Tilted Towers with each other and still running into each other, just not at Tilted Towers. So
something's bounding these two duos together like a magnet. And Thomas and Tripper, they were making the comeback, but they've had a bit of a setback now in 11th, out of the top 10. But the point range between 11th and being even in the top 7, top 8, they're very close. This could be a big change in what they're able to make if they have a good last game.
Pink and Anas now. They have their eyes set on Kylie and Fastrokey. But will they actually break out into an all-out battle here? It does seem that way right now, the way both of these teams are sort of moving. But is this a fight that's worth it for Pink and Anas? With how high they are in the standings, is this worth risking your tournament? In my humble opinion, I don't think so.
And they don't think so either. This engagement comes through. Kylie and Fastrokey, though, they keep their eyes peeled here, seeing if they can get some free tags as Pink and Anas continue their rotate through.
What do we have here? Oh, deep. Good and vacant. Oh. Those are my boys from the semi-finals. On this occasion, Hellfire and Flo is making quick work of them. That's the end of this season for Bacon and Gruden. Props to them, though. A team that many wouldn't have even expected to be here in the FMCS final, making an appearance. And even if things haven't quite gone their way, plenty of learning opportunities. And I hope next time round we get to see them again.
I mean, it's an accomplishment just to play in the finals. Someone on fire right now, Hellfire, after that elimination. We're going to see if he can continue that moving forwards. For Krusty and Paco, they're in the top 10. Big money on the line as they have their tower made in the Coney Crossroads. Their Storm Surge tower to find those tags on the players rotating around. And for Malibuka and Merstash, 2nd place spot, the nerves are on.
Oh, dear. It's not going to be an easy game for these two, but if there's any team that can rise to the occasion and handle that pressure, it would be them. I would not be surprised if they did come out this game and just got a victory royale with double-digit limbs. That would be so in their fashion.
I mean, reset it. I wouldn't be surprised either as we see a nice rotate from Vidil and Janice here. Along the edge of the zone. Make sure they're playing it safe here. They don't want to get into any trouble. No danger for this duo. Already capped materials. Good loot. They're trying to finish strong.
I'm sorry, but whoever's writing the scripts, you got to make it a bit less obvious. 3 North zones in a row. 3 back to back to back. And again, I'm sure we'll see a double pull. So, to be fair, Janice and Vidil have loved these zones, and it's because they've done exactly this. They've moved into these positions here in the Northwest. And so we were talking about how if they have another good game, it's not really going to be possible for anybody to take 1st place. But I think right now the reality is that they are just going to have another good game.
the last good game is what they're looking for. As all these top teams around the map scattered to the zone. And is it going to double pull for a third time? Back to back to back North zones. Janice and Vidil with their planned route from Greasy Grove up top. And Zandy and Joe now still inside of the zone. It's all on the line.
Perfect zone for Janice and Vidil. But we have so many other top teams in the lobby who all have such major stakes in this game. And so who better to update us on their stakes than Mini Miner? Mini, what is going around at the top of the leaderboard?
The top of the leaderboard, the top of the map, the North Zone. Queasy and Vina will be licking their lips. They're sat all the way up on top of the Shifty Shafts Hill and in the prime position to get Storm Surge tags. We can see Mustache and Malabuka getting themselves a supply drop as well. So that's a really good thing for them. They can have those armored walls that they give and those chug splashes from the supply drop. So perfect positioning for them. And another team that's in perfect position is, of course, Janeth and Vidil. They're using the geysers to rotate to the dead side of the zone, the less congested side. They're not taking any risk. They want to hold on to this top spot.
So much on the line for these players. All the top teams prepared, ready to make something happen in the last match. One of them, Seti and Cammy, that's had a great day too so far, pushing themselves up into the top 10. They're quite a ways from the top 2 or 3, but getting into the top 5, it would be an accomplishment for this duo, seeing how they performed on day 1. And for Queasy and Vino, from landing in Shifty Shafts uncontested to having the Shifty Shafts Hill and getting 3 back-to-back North zones, I'd be looking to see if they're able to dominate a high ground in this last match and make something happen.
Hey, look, it's way too early to say whether that will be possible for them, but that certainly is what they want to do, what they would have in mind. It's all about making sure all the other dominoes fall into place for them. Juriki and Ijob coming up with their victory royale up against Nebs and Marine, it seems. 2 very good friends. But unfortunately, neither quite having the kind of finals they would have dreamed of. At least Ijob and Juriki with their victory royale have moved into that top 20. But there is still plenty of work to be done in this last game. But it could be their good friends who are the ones to put an end to their run if this fight does continue.
As it looks like it is. The splashes come through. Nebs and Marine still close by. You can see on the bottom right of the mini-map, there are some players on a hill close by. Seems like a solo too. Not taking a look though. If they see a lot of action go on, it could permit them to have that opening. But for now, the expansion comes through from iDrop, and the aggression comes through from Nebs and Marine. A 44 tag from iDrop. The Chuck Splash once again coming through. He wants to stay healthy, wants to keep the shields at an all-time high. And Nebs and Marine, they're hungry being below 141. They need a big shot. A refresh would be even better as they're looking for that opening.
Nebs and Marine patiently waiting around these corners, but once they lose patience, Nebs decides to waltz his way on in. And unfortunately for Juriki, he's gone down. Nebs is also followed. And so now Marine versus iDrop, who is down to just a sliver of HP. This could be everything right now. Can iDrop hit the key shot against Marine? It's certainly going to be a hard shot to hit. Marine continuously pressuring on that box and looking to find his way, and he gets a wall. But unfortunately, there's shots coming in from all different sides, and angles, and Marine will fall. iDrop has gotten away with one here. And what a game to get away with one. Nebs and Marine fall. iDrop is still in this one. Whether or not he gets Juriki back up, I'm not sure. But they certainly will survive.
A quick gift for iDrop. But is he going to be able to use that gift to carry on forwards? The reboot will be difficult, but the possibilities there. Bevies has lost Vortexers, 7th place spot. They have a ways to go in the middle of a lake here. The drop comes in. Bevies now in a dangerous 1 versus 2. He gets coned in. He has to take another exit. He does, but is it going to be enough? 1 HP. He goes down. Another elimination on the board. QB Annie. They get a nice refresh.
They put an end to the run for Bevies and Vortexes. That is heartbreaking. If they aren't able to hold on to top 10 now, That is going to be such a sad way to go down. Joe and the Andy actually going down. That was the team in 4th place.
Ooh.
This is going to be a very, very interesting finish. They did so well throughout the tournament. In day 1, they looked like the top dogs. But unfortunately, day 2 just hasn't had that same fortune. And so now, Joe and Andy really at the mercy of the rest of the lobby when it comes to their position on the leaderboard. Oh, dear.
From 4th place, we'll see where they drop to. But another big duo up top that's put themselves into an engagement against Cammy and Seti, 2 of the top duos. Cammy has been taken out. Pink and Anos now with an extra elimination on the board. Seti alone to play it out. He's forced to make something happen, but he wants to secure as many points as possible. Is he going to try and disengage? He has 9 shots on the grapple glove, but as he drops down, he looks for more angles. The pressure, it's on.
This is so rough. Cammy and Seti, they had such a difficult tournament run. And when things were finally starting to go in their favor, finally starting to look good, it ends in tragedy. I got scared for a second there. Pink went down, but Seti and Cammy will fall. 6th place is the most that they were able to achieve, 222 points. Unfortunately for them, I don't think that will be enough. Oh, man.
That was a tough one.
We must continue, though. We must continue. The games go on, and plenty of games to play. Malabuka and Mustache, who currently sit in 2nd with 297 points. Still lagging behind Janice and Vidil a bit. They sit at 312. So a distance to make up, but a distance that they can achieve.
Joe and Ziandi out of this match. Seti Cammy out of the match. Wheezy Vino still in. Malibuka Mustache still in. Pink and Oz still in, but on the borderline here as they're trying to find an entry. The grapple glove gets used, but Pink now has been cracked. The whole lobby saw that. They know that he's low. The reinforced ramp comes in, and it looks like there's not actually going to be any pressure put onto them.
Pink and Anas are looking really good right now. They obviously have 245, and they have quite the distance in order to catch up to Queasy and Veno. But they certainly can overtake what Joe and Ziandi were at if the cards do fall into the right place. And you can see that's going to start with moments like this, applying pressure to boxes, trying to pick up a limbs along the way.
Using that grapple glove to pick up a bit of resources. They are down to 50 builds. Could be more, especially seeing the long ways that they have to go. You can see their rotate at the bottom right. They have to go all the way to the zone. It's far. But for Queasy and Vino, they're in a great position here, high up, even with a chance of pulling that half-in, half-out zone. As now the shots from Vino. Vino, day 2. Is it going to be the day where you put that crown on your head? As the momentum has to continue forwards. A great position to take some shots, do some damage. And Vino's doing a great job doing exactly that. You can see it's paid off. 194 above. All these players that had to rotate in now, trying to find a way in, but the ones that rotated early, like Janice and Vidil, the hard work is getting paid off now. But it's all about this last match. Game number 12. 5th zone going to be appearing in just 35 seconds. And this zone could be the deciding factor to which duo takes it home.
This is such a big moment. So many of these players have never been in a situation this intense. And it's all congregating around the logjam Lotus. Mustache, Manabuka, they might be starting to feel the pressure, but they can't allow themselves to. They still have such a big task on their hands. Not only do they have to come through and win the game outright, they realistically will have to get a bunch of eliminations along the way because Janice and Vidil are still alive and kicking in this one.
Mustache hits the shot onto Tayson, cracks him. Chapix as well. No shield to work with, but Mustache, he knows that danger is close. He decides to make the push. They want to pick up that extra loot. They get it. It's Chug Splashes, it's resources. They've recuperated a lot here, but they don't want to get too aggressive. It's another full duo, full HP, full shield. They cannot get eliminated here, especially after pulling the 5th zone.
Mustache and Malibuka will profit from the loot fruit of Andalex's labor. They take that loot for free, basically. And he's even going to dip back in for more. But that could go a long, long way. That refresh could be everything they needed as we head into the latter stages of this game. For Janitz and Badil, the key is to just hold on. That's all they need to do. Hold on, stay alive. Not too many power plays here, there, and everywhere. Just staying alive will allow them to hold on to first place. 15 points separating them and second place.
I'm getting stressed out just watching this. I don't even want to imagine how Vino and Queasy are feeling right now. Nefrizzi, Lusha up above. Japko, Karma as well. A lot of duos up top. They won it. Where's that 6th zone, that first moving gonna pull? Is it gonna open up the opportunity for Queasy and Vino to not have to make a risky play to maintain the high ground? Or is it gonna pull on the opposite side and cause them to have to make a decision? As Vadil and Janice seem to see something in zone. They're looking for openings, looking for damage, but with this bird's eye view, you can see all the players boxed up, ready. The high ground team's hungry as Pink and Anas continue taking shots.
Pink and Anas. There's a lot riding on what they do in these moments here. They're looking to drop down eye drop in Juriki. And if maybe they kept spraying, the opportunity would have arisen. Both of those players not working with much eye drop on such low HP as well. I'm not sure if they realize it. If they do, that's a free limb just waiting to happen. But the priority has to be getting to zone. They cannot afford to be tunnel vision on a limbs. And so they will make their move. And with not many charges left in this grapple glove, they have to choose wisely.
The shots come in. If you looked above, Lucia, Nefrizzi, they did pull that zone. Queasy and Vino decided to take it later, but Queasy, he's so low, he might go down. Vino as well, down to 5 HP. Both players of the duo now one shot away. Vino goes down. It's all up to Queasy as a solo. He pops the minis. He has the grapple glove, but he has to make a rotate. It's a far zone. He gets shot. He gets eliminated out of the match. Now Vadil and Janice holding that #1 spot.
Queasy falls. There was nothing he could really do. There were so many players around him, and he didn't have the HP to rival anybody. For Vadil and Janice, though, these were some huge eliminations. Art skill will fall. That is exactly what Janice and Vadil need if they want to stay in first. This is everything right now, but they are rising to the occasion.
The eyes are Vadil. The eyes are on Vadil and Janice. Murstache, Malibuka. These two duos going head to head, looking to see who's going to end it with the crown as Vadil continues to tarp through. Zone pulls back to the tree. They have to go backwards if they have their top already built. This could be huge as Malibuka picks up another elimination, but he goes down as well. Murstache now, it's all up to him. He is playing alone.
Mustache has the weight of the world on his shoulders. There is no more difficult moment for any player in the game. There is never any more pressure than this, but can he handle it? There is a player knocking on his door, trying to get in his box, and he creates enough space to get away. But can he do what it takes to stay and push into first?
He keeps moving forwards. He's on the edge of the zone. He cannot go down right now. If he wants to secure this tournament, he gets an elimination. That's a few more points on the board. But Janice and Vadil, they're still up as a duo. They're still moving through these zones. More than 30 builds on Vadil. Janice as well with some. The chug splashes are here. Everything is on the table.
As long as Mustache keeps pushing, there remains a chance. But with Janice and Vadil doing what they do best, staying together as a compact unit, it will almost become impossible at a stage. Mustache, though, is trying everything, and he has his eyes set on Snazy. Has to move up a layer, though. Doesn't have what it takes. Needs the wood. Needs more builds. Not working with much whatsoever. The chug splashes gives him a bit of time to play with, but how much is time really worth to him right now? He needs the limbs, and he needs them fast, and it's not going to happen. Mustache is just down to such low HP. Will he fall? It's looking like it. That is it. He wasn't able to catch them. Vadil and Janice are riding the wave to first place.
Are they gonna be the crowned duo champions? Fortnite Chapter 3, Season 3, Jadis and Badil, they're looking strong.
Lusher, though, up above, gonna try to do everything he can to spoil the party. But with Adil and Janice looking so strong throughout this whole tournament, let's see what they can do now when they're down to bare bones. No materials left, just their shotguns, but we know what they can do with them. Looking down now, there's opportunities there. There's players scuffed beneath them, but can they hit those shots?
They continue building forwards. They have to be careful, though, as Janice connects one. He gets knocked down. Badil now playing alone. He has that elim, but he wants to secure as many points as possible. He wants to show the dominance of this duo. They don't want just a crown. They want to have that crown with the separation as now, with one tick away from Badil going down. He gets dropped below in the mud, and he continues forward. Still 1 HP on the board, just 6 shields. He is 1 shot away from going down. How long is he gonna be able to stay up? He gets a refresh. Mixon goes down. Another elimination for Badil. Are you kidding me?
Badil manages to do it every single time, showing us here. He's a showboat. He doesn't care. They've won the tournament, but he is now just showing why he is revered as one of the best fraggers in all of Fortnite. Continuing to hit shots as well, and eventually will fall. First place is sealed. What is left though? Thomas, Trippin, they've done everything they can to try and move up in the standings, and with Thomas and Ahmedmis left in the zone, will he be able to clutch up a couple more points for his team? That certainly will be the goal. He needs these other players to go down though. The Frizzy, Lusher in a 2v2 against Yusri and Kiduo. Can they win it out? We've not seen much of this team today, but finally now an opportunity to show.
Thomas has gone down to Storm. It is the 2 versus 2. High ground up above with that advantageous position, but they have to make something happen down below. Yusri and Kiduo are in the mud. They're getting the materials, farming up what they can. They need to find an opening, an option to go up, take the engagement, take the battle, and this could be it as Nefrizzi goes down. Lucia now is separated. He's alone. The high ground has been retaken from Yusri, Kiduo, but Kiduo gets knocked. So does Nefrizzi. It's a 1 versus 1. Lucia has to connect the shots, and he does.
Lucia and Nefrizzi will win game 12, but the story we are all focused on right now is Janice and Badil winning the tournament, and in impressive fashion as well. What a 12 games of Fortnite it has been. Special moments all across the board. But in the final game, not too many surprises it seems. We see high ground coming in clutch when it mattered. Lusher did so brilliantly here in the final moment. It's hard to hold your nerve in times like these, but he did just exactly that.
Great way to finish. Every placement gets a prize, but thinking of that top half of the leaderboard, it was the Titans going head-to-head. Joe and Ziandi got knocked down early. Pink and Anas got knocked down shortly after, but the ones that were able to keep cool, to stay on top, it was Janice and Badil.
The German Giants bring it home, and in such a spectacular way, scintillating form all season long and delivering on the biggest stage yet. It's been an absolute pleasure casting these 12 games with you, Takara. What a season it has been, and a brilliant finish. We're going to send it back to the best analysts in the game to break it all down.
11-2K Tokata, thank you so much for an incredible set of games. Fantastic cast from both of you. It's done. Janice and Badil, they are your Chapter 3, Season 3 champions. Congratulations to them. Just so well fought. Nail biters every single game. We're watching these duos in the back just saying, what's happening? Wait, is this going to happen? Is this going to unfold? Why are they taking that fight? No, go here, go there. Reese, amazing, amazing.
Down to the last game, down to the wire. I am so impressed with Janice and Badil's performance. That has been unbelievable. I mean, to be honest with you, Badil himself, I'm going the wrong team, it doesn't matter. Badil himself is so impressive through this entire season. DreamHack doing so good in both different days of the events, performing in the qualifiers and semifinals. Wherever it is, he has come so far. And Janice, now a 3-time FNCS champion, one in solos, duos, and trios. I'm sure they're going to be happy with the cash.
I think it says a lot as well when we know that this duo, it was so unlikely for Badil to actually win first place of this final round, but it didn't even matter. He put on a show from start to finish. We saw Giannis and Badil very early on at the start of this round. They made sure to separate from everyone. They wanted to make sure that they were rotating to that north side zone as quickly as possible. They wanted the positioning. They wanted to ensure that they weren't going to be threatened by anybody flanking them from backside or whatever. They just fully ensured. And again, it's ridiculous to me that with 6 shield, 1 HP,
Oh, it's a shot.
and a dream, that Badil still manages to make it happen, finds an insane refresh, and just continues to hold on when he doesn't even need to.
It almost looked accidental, but I know it wasn't. Such a beautiful shot. And I think the most impressive thing that these two have done this season, I think you could put a lot of that down to the IGLing of Janus, is the fact that today, out of the 6 games, 5 of those were north zones. 5 of them. They dropped Greasy Grove, south map, and they rotate completely all the way around the map and have been in a good position in 4 of those. It's really unfortunate almost that the one game that they got snuck up on earlier was the game that they ended up getting a zone on their POI.
Yeah, it probably would have been a little, like, over a little earlier, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That
It
game
kept it close.
Yeah,
Kept
that's
it close.
fair, all right? We like to have the back and forth here,
Little
especially in
drama.
these
Yeah,
games. Just absolutely wild. And of course, I mean, I also want to give props to the duels, right? Malibu and Mustache, they didn't necessarily come in first place, but second place, that's still quite a bit of money. And as well to be able to say, hey, look, we came in
Oh, let's
second.
see.
Here is a breakdown. I mean, even talking about Queasy and Vino, right? Like, take a look at this prize money. That is absolutely insane. Sure, they didn't come first place, but to be able to be in that top 3, even people like Joe and Zandy, I'm just so excited for this duo to finally have that moment in the sun.
Absolutely. I mean, I know that all of the teams second, I mean, down till 6th, include 9th in there as well, all basically just wanted first. They didn't really care about anything else. And, you know, I'm sure Mustache Malbuka, some of them will look back and be like, yeah, we played well. But again, all of these people will be back again to try and claim first place. It's not enough sometimes for them.
Without a doubt, and especially, again, have to highlight Joe and Zandy here, despite the fact that their round 12 was a little bit of a disappointment, a bit of a heartbreaker for them, even after Yusri and Kido were able to play spoiler against them. It still doesn't matter. I think you can feel pretty fantastic by walking away with $120,000.
I'll take it.
If they don't want it,
They don't want it. I'm just saying. I'll have it.
Man, so well fought. And just to, like, once again reiterate, these lobbies are some of these are 50 of the best duos that EU has to offer, right? So for to even any of these duos to make it in that top 10, well fought from every single one of you. I mean, how are you feeling about the whole week, the whole season?
I think it's been fantastic, of course, more than anything else. You know, see that some of the top teams battle it out, and it's great to see like a team be crowned like Badil and Janus on top who deserve it, who put in the hours, who put in the practice. You know, similarly to Mustache, I mean, every team, the top 5 is a list of the players who basically just put in the most work this season, and it's been reflected so nicely on the leaderboards.
Vidil especially is often regarded for his obvious passion for competing, but it really just showcases itself that when you put in as much time as they have towards scrims and everything else prep, the overnight analysis that I'm sure they had to undergo, given the fact that they had such a fantastic day 1, but you wanted to maintain that the whole way through. It's not easy to have that midway break in between a day 1 and a day 2, and they just never stepped off the gas.
And I think props given to Seti and Kami as well. I know they were higher up going into that last game. They were in 6th place, and they dropped down till 9th there, which, you know, unfortunately is a big chunk of money lost out on. But they were 21st, 24th in that range coming into day number 2.
Right.
Bunch of 0 elimination games repeatedly. And at least in the end, they picked up a victorial. They clutched things up a little bit and obviously flew up into a much more respectable position. Again, similarly, it's not first. They're not going to be happy. But if you look at the score sheet through history time, now it's a single-digit placement number.
It's just something that's a little bit more indicative of what I think a lot of us tend to expect from this duo, because they have so much experience behind their names. And then not only that, but I think that they are also just a duo that understands how to perform under pressure. And granted, I guess we could say the same about any of these duos that we're looking at in this top 10 leaderboards, and even some that weren't able to make it into the top 10. But regardless of the circumstances, also have to keep in mind that Pink and Anas as well, I think that this is without a doubt probably one of the most improved duos that we've seen throughout the season.
It's not even season, the year. This is the most improved season. Or, I don't know, season. Now I'm throwing off. Okay. The most improved duo that we've seen throughout this entire year. It's been absolutely incredible.
We have a great surprise for you all at home. Woo. We have an interview with Badil, one of the players who just won Chapter 3, Season 3 FNCS Finals. What's going on, Badil? How you doing, brother?
I feel great. Like, it's insane. I
Oh
don't know.
yeah. All right. So talk me through everything, okay? Because you come into day number 2 strong, first place, and then you end the day in first. What does this mean for you as a player?
I don't know. But, like, we just played it flawless. Like, me and Janice, we had a plan and we just did it, like, the whole time.
That's amazing.
Oh.
Okay. How do you, so here you go. You know, you're playing first, day number 1, comes into day number 2, starts off well. However, Janice gets snuck up on. He gets picked off early. What is going through your head at that moment?
Yeah, like, we screamed. Like, it's unlucky we get camped on, but we win it anyways.
Right.
Well, it worked out.
Well,
It worked.
was there even a point of realization though for you that you guys in that round 12, once you saw, or did you by chance see the elim feed and realize that hey,
Yeah.
we've actually got this?
Yeah, like, we saw them dying and then we just played it out flawless again.
Dude, that's so awesome. I mean, Vidil, for you especially, I feel like some of the community doesn't give you the respect that you deserve, right? And now with this win, you can officially say, no.
Yeah.
I have the Axe of Champions. I am a champion. For you and your career and moving forward, what are you hoping to gain from all this? Like, what does this mean for you? Is this just like a trophy? Are you like, I'm good? Or like, no, this is just motivating you to just go that much farther?
This is like the first time I'm playing 24/7. Like, I go sleep, then I play, and then go sleep again. Like, I did it like for 3 weeks now, and like, this is just a start, I think. So I'm trying to win the next one just as well. Then.
That's awesome. Does your family know? Have you told them yet what's going down?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Are they excited for you? Do they understand? Are they like
Yeah.
freaking out?
yeah, completely.
Dude, that's so amazing. Congratulations once again to you and Janice.
Thank you.
Go out there, celebrate, raise that Axe of Champions 2.0 high. You have earned it. Thanks so much for hanging out with us, man. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Congrats, buddy.
Enjoy it.
Thank you.
Man, oh man. Huge smiles, not only from Vidil, but from all of us as well. And of course, we got to rejoin our in-game team. My goodness, boys. What a great show. What a great season. How do you feel at the end of it all, Minnie?
Couldn't be more happy. I feel like I've won FNCS with the happiness that I feel right now. I'm so happy for Deal and Janice, of course. As you guys mentioned, the analysts, you know, they were talking about how much work they're putting in, and finally it has paid off. We talked a lot about Janice being quite an emotional player in previous seasons, but today they pulled it back. Even after a bad start in game number 1 of 12, they have done it, and I couldn't be more happy for them. A little bit of a bumpy road for them, but couldn't be more happy.
It's been incredible, though. So much has happened throughout this FNCS, from Payson and Chapix being contested every single game to Malibuka's solo clutches, Ziandy's 1 versus 3. There's been highlights that I'm never going to forget in this FNCS, and it's been a pleasure. It's been exciting. I mean, I'm speechless.
Honestly, I'm just happy seeing that excitement about it. It's been such a fun ride. Of course, again, congrats to Janice and Vidil cashing in on them scrim bucks, baby. That's what you want. Honestly, I think going into further competitions, I'm really interested to see if they can keep this level, because we know how hard they've worked, and we've seen teams in the past maybe not quite keep, you know, that level after they hit their high. But hopefully this is far from their peak. Hopefully this is just the standard for these guys now.
That's right. I'm sure they're thinking ahead, right? FNCS Invitational, we get ourselves a win. Now we look to compete there in person. If they get a win there, man, like, dude, that's hats off. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Of course, they've done well on in-person events already. They've done well online. If, like you mentioned, keeping up that practice, keeping up the grind is what a lot of players struggle with after a win. The motivation that sometimes tanks. So if they can keep that up, man, I don't think we're going to be watching something really impressive.
That's right. We have to wrap this up with predictions. So across the season, we like to kind of play the same prediction game, you know,
This is
see how
tough.
things go. And at the end of it all, we give away a prize. Who is prediction royalty? Let's take a look at the results of
Free
how
Spike.
all this has gone in the very end of it all. 11-2K!
Wow.
You are
Congrats.
prediction royalty, my boy. Bask in the glow. But, you know, the thing is, Reese, you were also last champion.
I was indeed.
And so
Would
we
you like-
thought it was only fitting to make you immortalize you forever in part of this award. So Reese, I'm just going to show you real quick. You know, there you go. So for you guys at home, 11-2K is prediction
Wow.
royalty. You got himself a little resub there. It's the biggest brain time. And of course, great minds think alike. Congratulations, 11-2K.
It's,
Prediction royalty.
It's it means so much to me. I didn't think I had what it took, but I've really worked hard for this. I'm happy. I'd like to thank my mother. All thanks to her. I'd like to thank Reese Hub for just not being up for the mark this season.
Yeah, I had to throw just to give you a chance.
Yeah, he wasn't quite there. But yeah, I'm gonna hang this up in my room. It's a great day for 11-2K, and Levin's on fire. Mini-Mine is terrified. I could go on for ages. Someone's probably gonna have to cut off my mic soon.
I got it.
Let's do that quickly.
Yeah, let's do that quickly. Once again, so much.
Oscar's music.
Thank y'all so much for being a huge part of this. A fantastic way to close out the entire season. Janice, Fadil, once again, to you, congratulations. New FNCS champions. But don't forget, we have NA East coming up not that long from now. More champions to be crowned there as well. Until next time, the Invitational, we love y'all. Keep yourself safe. And we'll see you on the battle bus.
On the pitch. Well, if Moist do go through on this, there will be an awful lot of questions about whether or not these mistakes and their inability to iron them out this late into a series might come back to be the worst thing for their World Championship hopes. But for now, it's them against Furia. They've got to get the job done. They've got to find this next goal. Furia have roared back off the backboard. There goes Rise. Just the respect every single time. Infield pass. Now the opportunity to counterattack. Yan over to the ceiling. Realizes he's 2v1. Kyle goes so early, but still not quick enough.
I tried on that one. Like you said, too early. Maybe they're expecting boys to be over that ball a little bit faster. Maybe they're giving boys a little bit too much credit, which I don't blame them. I don't blame them. Boys has been on top of every single shot that very very fast, near or away from their net. Yanks has a chance to pass it to Caio. Caio trying to go for the ball again. Yo-Yo with a very good save. Yanks keeps the pressure. Card trying to read Rise. So difficult to get the ball around.
They've been looking a lot happier with his one-goal lead. Furia putting the pressure on, challenging early. Not really worried about the touches that are going to come out from Moist in this back half. Card, he's actually going to go for it. There was a little bit of risk in that play, but once again, reading the game well.
Been harping on it an awful lot, but just keep an eye at all times on the defending team's boost totals. These teams are holding the other one in their own side of the field so much, they're stealing those back corner boosts, that there just comes a moment where you have to go for something that you're not comfortable with anymore. You have to take the position of a teammate that cannot get there, that you weren't in position to take over on.
And Moist looked super uncomfortable on the low boost. We just saw all three of them on 0, and 2 of them ran all the way back to their own half to deal with it. 1 of them ran to the opposing corner, taking all of them out of position at the same time.
Well, they are aware of their strengths. They want to be flying, high flying. They're passing. Oh, that's almost on that guard. With the save, how?
You hero, Card. Manages to keep that one out. And Furia, they only need 1 goal to win.
It's split-second decision-making. Seeing the ball bounce off the wall, I'm thinking, I'm going to get in front of it, just backflip. And I hope for everything that it goes well. Now the infield, but Tira can't get there in time. Caio got a little bit of contact, and that tripped him up. Now 30 seconds on the clock, looking towards the backboard. Joyo clears. Nobody in the midfield to take